Good evening, MMA fans. This is the Radulich Broadcasting Network alternative commentary for UFC 245, Usman versus Covington. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And joining me tonight as he provides written coverage for 411mania.com in the MMA section, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the 411 Ground and Pound radio show, your friend and mine, the great Robert Winfree. How do you do, sir?
I was doing better until we went down memory lane about all the crappy movies you've made me watch, but the fights have been good.
Well, I really don't need to revisit that conversation for the audience, thanks.
If they listen to Damn You Hollywood, they have a running commentary about it. That's fine.
So,
and if you don't listen to Damn You Hollywood, what's wrong with you?
So tonight, we've got a triple header of title fights and two what look like bangers on the main card. This is the best main card of the entire year on paper. So far the prelims have been pretty good. Pretty good. We had 4 fights in the early prelims, and then another 4 fights where 3 out of 4 of them were finishes. Just kind of whipping through this. Soriano defeated Pachoida by KO in the first round. Jessica Evil Eye, she's fat.
Missed weight by 5 pounds. Yeah, you're fat.
Had a unanimous decision win over Araujo. Moreno defeated Carafons by unanimous decision. And Hooper, who then got the dubious honor of having a replay on the prelim card, defeated Tamer by TKOs with elbows. And which was a great fight because I thought he was going to get taken out in the first round there, but he came through with the victory. All right, we'll go back and look over the prelim card in just a second. We've got Peter Yan versus good old Chin, Uriah Faber in the Bantamweight division here, kicking off our main card. Real quick, as they show the tail of the tape, 50 words or less.
You are way ahead of me.
I've got ESPN proper on. Peter Yan versus...
That's so weird. This is legalized senior abuse, okay? That's what this fight is.
Yes, sir.
Peter Yan is going to... I'm projecting. Peter Yan's going to smash this guy.
Now, wait a minute. You're racist against Uriah Faber, so yes, I want an honest assessment here. I need you, Robert Winfree.
No, okay. Hang on. You want my honest assessment?
Yes.
Divorcing my bias about disliking Uriah Faber.
Yes, no racism, please.
Peter Yan is going to smash Uriah Faber.
Okay, is that because Uriah Faber is 100 years old?
Partially. Peter Yan is, for the record, a minus 550 favorite.
Yikes. So, I would have thought at this point, at this juncture, with nowhere to go but down, Uriah Faber would just stick to coaching and opening gyms.
You'd think that, but this is MMA.
Sure.
Look, Yan, Faber just, I don't know, saw an opportunity to come back, thought he still had the competitive fire, couldn't handle not being in the spotlight, whatever motivation you wish to ascribe to him. I can't speak to any of those beyond...
Didn't Faber used to fight at featherweight?
Yeah, that's where the bulk of his career was.
And so why is he dropping to bantamweight?
He's been at bantamweight for several years now.
Okay, this isn't a new thing.
No. He's been here for a while.
Okay. All right, we are about to get underway here. So, not a lot of strategy we were able to talk there because most of it was spent before we hit the record button with us arguing over whose fault the schedule was on Damn You Hollywood. And why Rob...
The answer is Mark.
Well, yeah.
Okay, look, as for strategy, I'll try to be brief here. Peter Yan is one of the best examples of how to hybridize boxing into mixed martial arts. He has tremendous upper body movement, good combinations up and down. He is a very ambidextrous striker, good wrestling defense, high pace, tremendous pressure. Peter Yan is an exceptional fighter. I am very, very... I've been high on him for a while. I was high on him before he got into the UFC.
So far he spent the first 30 seconds of this fight kind of stalking Uriah Faber, not really throwing anything. He just kind of sticks his arms straight forward. Like, literally, like, he's not throwing a single thing. He's just sticking an arm out there. You have any idea what he's doing?
Jan tends to take the majority of the first round to make reads, to get a feel for his opponent. He normally has a different guard posture than he's showing right now, but that might be because he wishes to threaten the jab more. Well, he's doing a lot of feinting to get Faber to react to it.
Well, yeah. Well, so far, Faber's the only one that's struck clean in this round. He landed a knee. He hit a few leg kicks. Jan has eaten them, and and just shrugged them off, but he hasn't thrown anything. By all rights, Uriah Faber is currently winning this round.
The round is very young still.
No doubt. But my point is, for the people listening who might not have watched this fight or will listen to this well after they've seen the fight, it's important to know that, okay, so Jan finally threw some lefts, none of them connected.
Well, he landed a pretty decent calf kick earlier, and again, a lot of this is going to be him getting reads, him getting Faber to bite on stuff, and Faber is being way too passive. Anytime Jan is twitching at him, Faber is reacting, which is mostly what Jan's after, getting him to react to something so that he knows what he's going to throw. Decent jab to the body there from Jan.
Yeah, he also threw a head kick that Faber didn't seem to like. It's not that he got all of it, but I don't think Faber liked it nonetheless.
Look, Faber does not like being in fights. Faber likes winning.
Yeah. Front kick from Faber. Jan just kind of walks through it.
Yeah, Faber has not done much to dissuade Jan's pressure, and that's a big problem for him going forward.
Jan clubbed Uriah Faber there, but then didn't follow up with anything. Instead, Uriah Faber started to give chase, and Jan just sort of circled away. We have a slip and fall from Uriah Faber there after the kick. The old slick canvas.
Peter Yan has really excellent footwork. If you want to rewatch either this fight or any of his others, pay attention to how he moves around the ring or the cage. He very rarely gets his back to the fence. He almost never stays there if he does find himself there. He moves very, very well. He has great ring craft. He has great pressure and cage cutting. And you're seeing it play out a little bit here. Faber might find moments of success, but he's much more predicating his game around explosions, whereas Jan is a lot more just keep chipping away, keep scoring, keep going forward.
Jan's been a bit more active in the last few minutes of this round, though it's a tough one to score because neither one of them has gained a clear advantage. Faber ate a hard right there. Now Jan's starting to tee off on him. Yeah,
this is what Jan does. There's similarities in his strategy to Max Holloway. He finds a point of habit that he can exploit, and then just does so relentlessly until you break.
Some more clubbing rights and lefts from Jan. So I don't love Uriah Faber's his footwork in this fight.
He's never had great footwork. I mean, ever. And the fact that Jan is just so consistently pressuring him is really getting to him at this point.
Well, he's allowing Jan to dictate where the fight takes place, and he just keeps backing up into the cage. He circles a little bit, but he's basically going wherever Jan puts him. And that's the end of round one.
Some of this is Faber's deficiencies. Most of this is Jan's excellence. Jan does this to plenty of people with better footwork than Uriah Faber.
So, what did you end up scoring it?
10-9, Jan. Again, it's not that Faber is getting mollywopped, but
not yet.
He is not winning by any reasonable stretch of the imagination.
I thought he just due to inactivity, I thought he was doing well in the beginning, but as 2 minutes turned to 3, I think Jan took over, and when asked who would I have rather been in that round, I would have rather have been Jan. Faber took some hard strikes.
Most fighters that rely on reads, those first couple of minutes tend to be a little bit, I hate to say lackluster because that's not really the right word.
Inactive.
But you're making reads, and
you're doing reconnaissance.
Yeah, Anderson Silva did it. Max Holloway still does it because she's a very read-reliant fighter. Israel Adesanya, current middleweight champion. It's just one of the considerations you're going to make if that's part of your style. If you want to make reads and be reactive and whatnot, you accept that, okay, the first few minutes, I have to establish patterns, I have to pick up on my opponent's patterns, and figure out how to exploit them.
So, Jan has picked up right at the beginning here. He's starting to come after Faber. It looked like he went in for a takedown and just didn't really commit to it. Kind of tied up with Faber for a moment and then disengaged.
Probably more just to keep Faber on his toes thinking about the takedown. He'll probably fake it at some point in the future and use that to set up some kind of striking offense. And Jan has a good takedown game. That's not to say he's not a striker to the exclusion of everything else. This is simply where he is best. Faber really does not like the pressure.
No, Faber is running for his life. And now they are tied up against the fence with Faber having underhooks.
This is the area that Jan has to be more careful in, is the more static things get.
If Uriah Faber is able to counter Jan's reads and use his experience to his advantage, he might be able to eke out a decision here.
He won't be able to do that if this fight is contested on the feet. He's just not good enough in that area. Faber has to get this fight to the mat, where he can try and explode, where he can try and scramble, get some control, inflict some damage. On the feet, Uriah Faber has always only been the right hand. That's all he's got. And being that one-dimensional with your striking offense against a striker as good as Jan is a recipe for disaster.
Right. Faber goes for a takedown, and now he's eating a handful of uppercuts and lets the leg go.
Good dirty boxing from Jan.
Oh, here we go. We're about to see the end of this fight. So Jan nailed Faber dead in the nose. Uriah Faber's legs went out from under him. He landed on his ass. He gave up his back to cover up, and Jan continued to beat on him. Now Uriah Faber's back on his feet, and Jan gives him a chance to recover, but Uriah Faber's face looks like it was hit by a brick.
Jan, while he might give him a chance to recover in the sense that he's not going to go wild, he's not going to give him any real time to recover. He's going to keep pressuring him.
Up. Knockdown from an elbow. A right elbow sends Uriah Faber careening to the canvas. He's back on his knees again. Back to Jan. Jan is continuing to lay in strikes from the back. He's got him around the waist, but Uriah Faber's back on his feet. I spoke too soon. He's on his back. And Jan is now currently working from guard.
Faber might see the end of the round at this rate, but...
No, they're calling in the doctor.
Yeah, this is... again, I said senior abuse for a reason.
So they're going to go ahead and check out... Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's a lot of just blood that's been wiped away, but he has a large hematoma on the bottom left of his left eye. I mean, that's gross looking. So they cleaned up his face, they checked out the hematoma on the eye, and they're going to put Jan back on him in full guard.
Good good decision by the ref. If they had stalled out, then and you want to get something checked, that's a good place to do it, and good on the officials to give give Jan back the position he had fought to earn.
So Jan looks like he let Uriah Faber back up again, but he keeps dropping him. I mean, Uriah Faber just went down to one knee. He recovered and got back up, but I think Jan's got Uriah Faber's number now. Certainly, if he opens up that hematoma under the eye, I mean, granted, it's under the eye, not over, but that's still not something you want to have exploding all over your face.
Even if it doesn't explode, if it keeps swelling like that, it will impair your vision.
Standing switch gives Jan Uriah Faber's back, and he forces the takedown, and we're back to full guard. It looks like he's trying to pass into side control. He's in half guard currently. Uriah Faber's trying to keep a hold of that leg. And that is the end of round 2. Now, under the new rules that they brought in 20 minutes ago, would that be a 10-8 round?
Yeah. He got dropped twice badly, nearly finished. 3 times Jan clubbed him with a right near the end of the round that off-balanced him, not dropped him the same way, but he definitely went down.
No, he went down to 1 knee. This is in boxing. He'd have gotten an 8 count.
No, that's a 10-8 round for Peter Yan. Like, that was by all reasonable scoring criteria, he dropped him multiple times, inflicted a lot of damage, got a couple of near finishes.
All right, we are into round 3 here. At this point, Jan just needs to not get finished, and he's won the fight.
Yeah, that was a huge second round for Peter Yan. And he's not going to sit on the lead. Like, he's not going to go crazy looking for a finish, but he's not going to go, I've got 2 rounds, I'll just dance around and not do anything now. He's going to continue doing what was causing him success to begin with. And Faber's face is a mess. He doesn't really want to be there anymore.
So Faber looked like he was thinking about a takedown and proceeded to get kicked in the face for his troubles.
Yeah, he waited way too long to kind of start wrestling. He needed to do that much sooner.
And we're dead.
Oof.
Head kick KO in the 3rd round sends Uriah Faber's eyes rolling into the back of his cornrows.
I am not going to pretend not to be happy about this.
Yes, I heard your pants just go excitedly thrown across the room. It's fine. It's fine.
Dude, I'm working from home. I'm not wearing pants to begin with.
Terrific.
Hey, you have publicly stated that you podcast in your underwear. Let's not pretend that this is an audio-only format, guys. If we were on video, I'd be wearing a suit. We're not. I wear what I want.
All right, and we will get you the official word in just one moment. All right, we have official results in. Peter Yan, as we all know, defeated Uriah Faber by KO via front kick in the first 43 seconds of round 3. A thing of beauty, Robert Winfree, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I said before Yan was going to smash Faber, and that's not just because I am not a fan of Uriah Faber. Peter Yan is young. He's talented. He is ranked. He was ranked coming into this as, I believe, the fourth or fifth. I can confirm this and not sound like an idiot. He was ranked number 4 as the number 4 contender in the world in the UFC.
This has got to line him up for a title shot, no?
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
All right.
Well, let's establish first of all that right now the bantamweight title is held by Henry Cejudo. who is also the flyweight champion.
Who is also injured.
Who is currently injured. There's been noise that he will have to either defend or vacate the flyweight title next, which would be logical given he's held that for a while and has one defense against TJ Dillashaw, who cheated and basically killed himself in order to make 125. So he's got the one pseudo defense. I shouldn't say pseudo. It's a legitimate defense, just not against a legitimate flyweight contender. He went up. He was going to go up to bantamweight and fight Dillashaw. Dillashaw failed his drug test. Dillashaw is suspended for 2 years. He fights Marlon Moraes earlier this year for the vacant bantamweight title, wins. But the flyweight belt has not been in the picture since January of 2019. There's also the minor inconvenience of not only our next fight, which will be between Jose Aldo and Marlon Moraes, who failed to win the vacant title when he fought Cejudo, despite turning in an exceptional first-round effort. Just fell off after that. So there's Cejudo's return time. There's Cejudo's complaining with the UFC about money. There's which title Cejudo will defend. There's a logjam of contenders generally. Bantamweight's a great division. It's a crying shame it doesn't function normally because of ego. I mean, they still have Dominic Cruz ranked right now, which is...
Dominic Cruz hasn't fought since the Civil War.
I love Dominic Cruz. I really do. But, yeah, he shouldn't be ranked right now. It's ridiculous to not fight for that long and retain that kind of position. Moreover, his last fight was a loss.
Yeah, like he came back from like a 12-year injury, lost, and then hasn't fought since.
No, he came back from a long injury, won again, was injured, lost, and now hasn't been seen since.
Ah, okay. I mixed up my long injuries is what happened there.
Yeah. Which is fair. Dominic Cruz has had a few of them.
Yeah.
And again, big fan, but I'm not gonna. That's not going to. That doesn't change reality. They still have Cody Garbrandt, probably ranked too highly. There's a lot of. There's just a lot of moving parts right now in that division.
So do you put Peter Yan against the winner of Moraes Aldo at this point?
That depends on who wins. If Aldo wins, they're going to try and hotshot him into the title scene, despite him looking like death when he weighed in yesterday. If Moraes wins, they might, because Moraes already got finished by Cejudo, so it becomes a little bit more dicey. You have Aljamain Sterling out there, who's also a very, very deserving contender, and you have, and let's be fair, you have TJ Dillashaw coming back. It's still going to be a while, but he is still planning to return at some point when suspension is up. So,
well, I don't think Jan took too much damage in this, so theoretically he could turn around and fight on the February or March cards.
Yeah, I don't think Cejudo's going to be ready by then. And moreover, I don't think Cejudo is going to rush his return and shelf his pay dispute with the UFC to fight Peter Yan.
Is there... Well, I guess my question to you, and then we should talk about the next fight, which, well, to a degree we are, but at this point, if there's no immediacy in getting Yan into the title picture, and there's a lot that has to be worked out, so you might as well just make fun fights for fun fighters. Who do you put? Who's your wish list for Peter Yan?
Oh, I want him to fight for the belt. Let me be clear. I'm just expressing what I think is going to happen, not what I want to happen.
I understand that, but we just went through a rather lengthy explanation of why that's probably not happening next or anytime soon. So
okay, hang on.
The guy needs to be busy.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
The notion that you have the value in staying busy is not completely fictitious.
Okay, not for nothing, but I saw payouts for tonight's card. He probably should take another fight.
Yeah, he's still like on either his first or second contract with the UFC. He's not getting paid a tremendous amount.
No. So, if you could answer my question, Captain Pedantic, and tell me, who would you like to see Peter Yan fight next in the relatively near future?
Okay, there was a fight coming up. Frankie Edgar was going to be dropping to bantamweight to fight Corey Sandhagen, who's another exceptional up-and-comer. Instead might be a bit of a stretch. Edgar agreed to step in on short notice at featherweight to fight the Korean Zombie after Brian Ortega suffered a knee injury in the last event of this year on the 21st of December. Edgar still claims he will make a turnaround for a February fight against Corey Sandhagen. This is bull. This is not a shot at Frankie Edgar in any way, but that's not happening, which really sucks for Corey Sandhagen because he's been poised to have a really big year. Yan and Sandhagen is a very, very high-paced, high-level, exciting fight on paper. If Dominic Cruz is ready to return, and we don't know that he isn't at the moment, Yan and Cruz would be great. Yan and Sterling would be really, really great.
Here's my problem. Dominic Cruz tears an ACL walking to sign the contract of that fight, so just take him out.
I'm not going to completely take him out of the equation. You are correct in that the winner of Aldo and Moraes is a very real possibility, which would also be a great fight. Mm-hmm. It's hard to come up with bad matchups at bantamweight if you're booking in a vacuum.
Well, I like this idea of the Sandhagen fight. You know,
I do, but I don't. I do because, again, in a vacuum, yes. What in the world could I complain about? In reality, you're killing off one of your rising contenders for 18 months at least. And that seems unnecessary at this point.
I don't know. The way you're describing this to me, it seems like you kind of have yourself a little mini tournament, an undeclared mini tournament, while Cejudo gets himself patched together. And for God's sakes, Dominic Cruz tears an ACL going to the bathroom. Just stop with that already.
Yeah, and Cody Garbrandt fights like an idiot. And yet he's still somehow loosely in the picture. Who's the other guy? The guy who just beat him. Pedro Munoz is kind of loosely in the picture.
All right. Let's talk about Marlon Moraes versus Jose Aldo. What can we expect here in 50 words or less?
It's really hard to say just because we don't know how Aldo's going to perform at 135. If you're a fan of the sport, you know how great Jose Aldo is. He has an exceptional jab, great defense, good slipping, powerful counters, but he's got a little bit of the Yoel Romero syndrome where he's kind of either unloading or reloading. There's not a tremendous amount of in-between for him. More than Romero, who has no middle ground at all. Aldo can jab very well. He can kick. He does other things, but there is more of that kind of habit of behavior in him than not. Moraes is more of a kicker. Very good on the ground. Decent clinch game. Moraes' big problem, especially in the Cejudo fight, was once things got into the pocket, into middle distance, he had a real hard time answering the pressure and attacks of Henry Cejudo. And if Jose Aldo implements a similar game plan, he might see a similar result. Officially, I picked Marlon Moraes for this fight, just between the weight cut from Aldo and Aldo's propensity to exist in a specific distance that is a bit more conducive to Marlon Moraes having success. But this is a really solid fight. And this is the antithesis of an easy fight for Aldo's debut at bantamweight. Moraes has been one of the very best bantamweights in the world for quite some time now.
So when Jose Aldo loses this fight, does he go back to playing soccer?
He never played soccer.
Does he proceed to try to play professional or semi-professional soccer? I know he loves his soccer.
Sure, he's Brazilian.
Yeah, Jose Aldo has given so much time and energy into this sport. I would like to see him ride off into the sunset and do something else with his life. I don't love the Terry Funk / BJ Penn, stay too long, go forever, embarrass yourself out the door.
Yeah, I would have. Look, there's a gag running around the MMA world right now that Aldo's been retired since the second Mendez fight, which, in all fairness, is one of the best fights you will ever see.
I still can't believe he got dropped in one punch to McGregor. That fight gave me PTSD.
Feels surreal to think about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially because, the UFC is not known for their creative marketing, and the commercial for Aldo McGregor was fantastic. I mean,
yes, it was.
I can count off on my hands the amount of great promo videos for UFC pay-per-views. Nothing has been better than Jake Shields versus George St. Pierre.
I would contest
opposite of that fight.
I would contest that. The promo for the first fight between Daniel Cormier and John Jones is exceptional. The promo for the fight between Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm is exceptional. And the McGregor-Aldo promo was pretty darn great.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch those, and maybe that might be a little fun extra thing we should do one day is kind of look at the top 5 promo videos for UFC, because not like they've had a lot of them. But I still vividly remember. Look, if something has stuck in my memory this long, it obviously stuck with me. And I vividly remember the Jake Shields, George St. Pierre promo.
Oh, it was great. It was also one of the first examples in a long time of the UFC promotional machine not being terrible.
Well, sure, because 999.9% of the UFC promo videos are this guy knocks somebody out, that guy knocks somebody out, and Joe Rogan orgasms in his pants.
Yeah, it's a lot of rinse and repeat as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Oh, this one almost ended early. Marlon Moraes started her off with or the left kick to the head and caught Alzo square, but Alzo recovered. Boy, Marlon Moraes just won't stop with that left kick to the head.
That is his weapon of choice.
He's not joking around with it. Moraes comes across with a left uppercut, doesn't find the target.
Yeah, Aldo, his defense, as you can see, is holding up okay so far, but yeah, oh God, he looks so bad, just physically. This is not his weight class.
Yeah, he's looking very sallow and pale for a Brazilian fella. He looks depleted.
He looked so bad. He looked like Skeletor on the scale yesterday. He looked awful.
He just caught another left from, this time a punch from Moraes.
A little bit of stance switching from Moraes, which not something he's known for. But if he's adding it to his arsenal, it's a good addition. Yeah, Moraes doing a good job of moving. He is visibly the smaller man in there at the moment. That said, he does look to be the healthier man.
Yes. Aldo had been content to just sort of counter or wait to react to Moraes. Now he's at least coming forward.
Yeah, his jab is starting to show up again as well, which is a big thing for him. If Aldo's jab isn't working, a lot of what he tries to build on offensively doesn't work. The conditioning for both men is going to be very interesting. Moraes faded hard in the Cejudo fight, and Aldo's conditioning has never been. I won't say his conditioning has been bad. It's been managed well by him. He has faded at times. He has persevered at times. He knows what his conditioning level is, and he knows when to go, when to take a bit of a break, stuff like that. But he's never been, all action for 5 rounds. And so the fact that this is a 3-round fight helps in that case for both men. But it's also, it's a bit of a question mark about who might fade first and who might find some success based on the other fading physically.
But Ray's starting to slow down here in the first round. I don't think he's lethargic or anything or having a conditioning issue, but he's not attacking like he was. He's content to kind of find an angle and throw a single punch, which, to his credit, has been fairly successful. It's not going to get him any knockouts, but he's at least hitting.
You really don't want to engage in prolonged exchanges with Jose Aldo.
Sure.
Unless you are Max Holloway and have not only good defense but a granite chin, you really don't want to let that guy throw back at you a lot because his defense is good and his punches are very good. The longer you spend exchanging with him, the more likely you are to be hit. And if you are not completely confident in your chin and your distance management, it's better to just avoid that whole can of worms.
All right, we are winding down to the last minute of the first round here. Jose Aldo starting to pick up the pace. Though Jose Aldo got beat up pretty good in this round. He's starting to go after Moraes now, and they are in a firefight.
When Jose Aldo wants to go, he can still go.
Oh, and Moraes takes him down to put the punctuation mark on round 1 for himself. And Jose Aldo's going to batter up Moraes' head while he lies on him in guard. And that is the end of round 1. Jose Aldo skips merrily to his corner. Go ahead and give your summation. I got to run and get myself a drink.
Good round for Moraes overall. He didn't engage in Jose Aldo's kind of fight until the very end when Aldo got close and looked to really unload. And even then, Moraes had an answer in that takedown from the body lock. Aldo looks to be in decent physical condition as far as his conditioning goes, but I do wonder how long that's going to hold up. Moraes, you see, if you're watching some of the replays, Moraes did get hit a few times with Aldo's right, and Aldo's jab started to show up as the round progressed. But by and large, a round for Moraes, good use of his legs as far as kicking goes, good punches. He landed some really good shots, good use and good strategy to just avoid Aldo's game plan.
Close-up of Aldo's face there. He looks a little beat up, which he was.
Yeah, Aldo's years, in the sport as well are starting to catch up to him a little bit. Aldo's coming off of a loss to Alexander Volkanovski, which was his first loss in a 3-round fight since, you ready for this? 2005.
Wow.
He'd lost a couple of fights between now and then, but they were all title fights.
Sure.
And even then, only to, McGregor and Holloway. This wouldn't be Aldo's first losing streak ever, but this would be his first sequence of losing fights in 3-round fights. A loss here for Aldo puts his career in a really, really bad spot.
So we have a leg kick from Moraes there, an inside leg kick. I liked what I was seeing from Jose Aldo at the end of round 1. I wish he would get back to it.
That's not a sustainable effort. And that's not just him. That's the vast majority of humanity. The way he fought in the closing bit of that round is not something you can do at scale for minute over minute for a long period of time.
But I'm not suggesting he do it for 5 minutes. I'm suggesting he do it and win the fight.
You're banking a lot on your ability to get Moraes out of there, because if you gas, he's going to kill you.
It's a fair counterpoint. Good defense from Aldo there, protecting himself against the head kick.
At this point, Moraes could probably land a really good kick just by faking the switch step for his left, baiting Aldo to move away from it, and throwing his right leg.
Clean punch from Aldo. Scores on Moraes.
Moraes doing some body work this round, too. Speak of the devil, there's the right high kick. I am good at this. Not really, but... Aldo jabbing to the body as well. Both guys seem to be working on setting their stuff up now more than just kind of relying on explosions, which is good. That's fundamental technique. You set stuff up. You go low, you work high. You get your opponent thinking about something else, then you surprise them. I'm perpetually annoyed by the amount of just stupid headhunting that goes on in MMA.
Well, that's something we've been talking about for years, even when I did the podcast, about how people just throw hooks and power punches and they don't box.
It does seem to be going away. And in all fairness, part of the reason you have to set stuff up in boxing the way you do is the size of the gloves and the nature of defense. The nature of defense in MMA is very different from the nature of defense in boxing, especially when it comes to covering up. Sure. There's a lot of generalized arm and hand positions that are good to adapt. Good trade of rights there by these guys. They are getting after it. So the value in headhunting in MMA is better. It's more likely to pay off than it is in boxing or even kickboxing. But there's
spinning back kick from Moraes. Again, blocked, though, by Aldo. Didn't have as much starch on that one as his other ones, which were lightning fast.
No, a lot of Moraes' explosive movements are going to slow down as the fight progresses, and that's not a knock on him or his conditioning. That's a reality of everyone. It is a bit more pronounced when he is as explosive as he is early, but... This might be a bizarre observation, but it seems like Moraes is using his flashy attacks not to set up his more traditional stuff rather than vice versa. He's throwing the wheel kick and then, okay, now we'll start landing jabs. He's throwing a flashy high kick and then it almost seems backwards in terms of which he's using to establish the other. Aldo also at this point has a good read on that left head kick from Moraes. He needs another weapon.
Yeah. Or it needs to come at the end of a combination.
Yeah, he can't just throw it out there naked anymore. This has been a darn good fight so far.
All right. So the first round clearly went to Moraes. How did you see that second round?
I'm actually leaning towards Aldo. He landed more jabs. Moraes had some bigger moments, but if we're looking at just who did the most consistent work, I think that was an Aldo round.
I can't say I disagree with you too much. I didn't see as much from Moraes in that second round as I did in the first.
Moraes seemed to not really adjust between rounds. He came out trying to do a lot of the same stuff he did in round one, whereas Aldo adjusted to what Moraes did and had more success because of it. His jab was much more prominent that round. You can see the evidence of that all over Moraes' face, especially his nose. Really, really good fight thus far. Aldo's body work in that round was pretty hellacious. We see if you watch the replay, he landed some really good right lefts to the body. Aldo's body work has always been very good. He just doesn't use it as much as other weapons.
All right, we are back here in round 3.
In all honesty, a loss here for either man is fairly devastating.
Sure.
For Aldo, you're again on another losing streak. You've now failed down a weight class, and if you're Moraes, it's a losing streak. It's a loss to Cejudo. It's a loss to Aldo. It means you've got to retool some things in pretty real ways.
Nice double jab there from Moraes.
Both men have shown very educated left hands, which is not a surprise in the case of Aldo. It's a bit of a new development for Moraes, who's not been a very prolific technical puncher. His kicks have always been good, and he does have power in his hands, especially for bantamweight, but he's showing a level of technical acumen that was not really there before.
Okay, so one of the things I'm seeing is Jose Aldo not doing the best job excuse me, of cutting the cage off from Moraes. Moraes is just able to circle as long as he's got the gas for it.
A lot of Aldo's offensive pressure and footwork involves backing you to the fence, then he will commit to an attack. And if it misses, because he has committed his weight as much as he does, it provides you an opening to escape. That said, if you don't escape, or if the pressure is just worn you down and suddenly you're against the fence and Jose Aldo kind of wants to take your head off.
A lot of circling. A lot of circling from Moraes and Jose Aldo just following, which I don't love.
I think if Aldo had a better idea of what he wanted to do once he cut Moraes off, he would probably be cutting him off more. But another important thing to remember, Aldo, over the last few years, has been more of a counter striker. A lot of his forward motion only comes after he's hurt you on the counter. So this is something that in real time he's not done in a while, as far as general strategy goes.
Well, if Moraes can keep up the pace, that doesn't really favor Aldo, especially as depleted as he came into the weigh-ins. Jumping knee from Aldo.
Well, Moraes also isn't pushing Aldo to work the entire time, which is a big thing about Aldo. If you want to beat him with pace and pressure, you have to force him out of his rhythm. And Moraes has thus far not done that.
No, he started off really hot and heavy in that first round, and gave away the second, continuing the same pattern in the third.
Well, he's at least outlanding Aldo here in the third, where I felt he got outlanded in the second.
Well, speaking of landed, Jose Aldo just scored another one squaw in the mouth.
In all fairness to Aldo, and my reference to how bad he looked on the scale, he's performed well. Certainly relative to how he looked yesterday. A little surprised that Moraes hasn't tried to mix in some takedowns again, even if just clinch stuff or just to get Aldo thinking about it.
Leg kick from Moraes. Chopping leg kick.
Yeah, Moraes more of a kicker than Aldo recently. Good right from Moraes.
Yeah, Aldo looked like he was almost complaining about something, but the ref didn't get involved. It didn't stop, so I wasn't quite sure what that reaction was. So Aldo didn't really command on a takedown, but he caught two for his troubles because of it.
When Moraes fakes a change of step, or he shows a step through on the right side, Aldo's biting on that almost every time. Moraes could follow with a shifting left hook.
All right. And that is the end of the fight. Both men have their hands in the air.
Tough round. That's going to come down to the third, and that's a tough round to score. Neither guy gets to complain about a decision here.
No. I would accept Moraes by majority decision. or a split decision, or a split draw, or just a draw. I think the only one that I would find a little hard to believe is Jose Aldo by unanimous decision. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in just a few moments. All right. We have a decision, as I said it was going to be. Marlon Moraes defeats Jose Aldo by split decision. We now move on to Amanda Nunes versus Pig Hostage.
Oh, that is a gross exaggeration of Germaine de Randamie, and a huge and unduly dismissive of her skill set and her chances of winning this fight.
Says you. By the way, I did that joke for John War last night. We covered Ortiz versus Solomon. And sometimes I do these jokes, and I guess longtime listeners of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network will know that that's a Tiny Toons reference, and I use it all the time, specifically the Bat Duck episode. But if you're not used to me, and John War and I have done a few shows together, and it's been great, but and he knows I'm quite the jokey fellow, but he doesn't know all the references. He knows about the Canelo one, because I warned him of that one right away. But he doesn't know a lot of the other stuff. So when I made that joke, he was like, I think all he heard was pig. And like, why is he calling this poor woman a pig? And like, I had to explain to him off, like, no, it's a reference to Hampton in Bat Duck. Because Robin wears a garish costume and looks like a distraction for Batman. That's the joke, see? Anyway, Amanda Nunes is a killer. She's part lioness, don't you know? And Germaine de Randamie, I mean, yeah, she's definitely got some solid wins under her belt. But come on, man. Let's call a spade here, shall we? Can we not mince words and pretend this woman has a snowball chance in hell of defeating Amanda Nunes?
This is where your ignorance pains me. Oh? Okay, you want to talk about Germaine de Randamie. Don't get me wrong. She gets under my skin. And the way she conducted herself after becoming the featherweight champion was bizarre, to say the least. This woman is undefeated for years in Muay Thai competition in Holland. She's known as the Iron Lady for a reason. The longer this fight stays on the feet, the more it favors her. Now, that's not to say Nunes is incapable of winning a striking battle. Nunes hits like... I'm going to quote Misha Tate here, okay? This is Misha's quote, not mine. Amanda Nunes hits like a man.
You're going on and on and on about... You've been talking for 6 hours straight about Germaine de Randamie and this great record that she has from years past. But that's the point, isn't it? That Amanda Nunes wrecks you in less than a minute.
She can. Some of her fights go longer.
Amanda Nunes is the eternal tree to everybody else's driving while intoxicated. I mean, she just destroys anybody that gets in there with her. She's champ for a reason. Almost.
She lost the second fight with Shevchenko, let's be real.
I'm not going to argue with you about that.
It's because I'm right. No, again, I favor Nunes in this fight. Rather heavily, in all honesty. But that's somewhat contingent on intelligent game planning from Nunes. If Nunes decides I'm going to go in here and spend 5 minutes and spend the first round doing nothing but striking with Germaine de Randamie, she is courting disaster. That's my point. These two fought before, and Nunes got a takedown and elbowed her into oblivion in the first round. If she's smart, she'll try.
Thank you for making my points for me, but go on.
Dang, that was years ago. And if she's smart, she tries to do that again. But the notion that Germaine de Randamie is here just to be a highlight is erroneous. Germaine de Randamie is a very good fighter. Yeah, do I favor her to beat Nunes? No, I do not.
In the last 6 fights.
All right. If we're going to do this, go ahead.
In the last 6 fights, these are facts.
Okay.
Okay. She submitted Miesha Tate in the first round. Very naked choke.
Nunes?
Nunes, yeah.
Was that really in the first round? For some reason, I thought it was second.
I'm looking right at it.
No. I believe you. That's my faulty memory. Continue.
Okay. She murdered Ronda Rousey in the first round by TKO.
Yep, that was a beating.
The next 2 go to decisions. Fine. No, I'm sorry. The next one is a split decision with Shevchenko, and she probably lost that one.
I think she lost that fight. I am not alone in that opinion.
Well, the record books say otherwise.
Hey, look, I'm happy to acknowledge that she officially won, okay?
Okay, she TKO'd Raquel, but she waited till the 5th round to do it. Okay?
That should have been over between rounds 4 and 5. Raquel's corner, listening to Raquel Pennington say, "I'm done," and then going, "No, get back out there," is like borderline criminal.
Okay, and then in the last 2 fights, she KO'd the unKOable, unless it's in lion fights, the murderess, the woman that sent that poor little Japanese woman trying to escape the cage for her life in Strikeforce.
Look, in all seriousness, if we're going to talk about women whose records are padded and who fought a bunch of pig hostages, it's Cyborg, not Nunes.
Either way, speaking of hits like a man, she KO'd that woman in the first round. 51 seconds of the first round.
Crazy fight.
And then, professional boxer extraordinaire, champion in her own right, the preacher's daughter, the woman who KO'd Ronda Rousey out of mixed martial arts for a year before Amanda Nunes finished her off. First round, TKO, head kick, and punches. Amanda Nunes over Holly Holm. Now, I ask you, sir.
Okay.
And she's already beaten, as you said before, Germaine de Randamie once.
Yes.
How does... I don't see, and this is where I'm going to shut up and let you educate me, how does Germaine de Randamie change history and make Mark Radulich look like a fool? A fool, I tell you, for telling you this ends in the first round by murder, death, kill.
Look, you were saying that about Ronda Rousey when she fought Holly Holm, too.
And I was nearly right until the fight started.
No. You weren't even right about that when they squared up at the weigh-ins. All right. Germaine de Randamie, again, is a very, very decorated, very capable striker. She has powerful, straight punches, which is not something Cyborg throws. I mean, the whole reason Nunes was as successful as she was against Cyborg was she straightened out her punches, and Germaine de Randamie throws even straighter punches than Nunes. I'm not saying Nunes isn't going to win. I'm not saying Nunes isn't going to win in the first round. Those are both very probable outcomes. But de Randamie has good straight punches, has a good clinch game, solid knees to the body, and Nunes had some trouble with Holly before she finished her. Nunes can be outdone technically, especially if she's a little bit wary. That's kind of what undid her to the degree that it did against Valentina Shevchenko. She didn't want to be countered, so she stopped doing a lot of stuff. I'm picking Nunes. Look, if you want me to say which round is this round, pick Nunes. Okay, what round does it end in? I'll buy first. But de Randamie is not a pig hostage. Now, if Nunes can make her look like a pig hostage, that is a superb statement of Nunes' ability. Because de Randamie is, by all appreciable, measurable metrics, not a pushover. If Nunes blows through her like a hurricane through South Florida, that is supremely impressive. That's more my point than, well, no, you really should be picking de Randamie to win. Like, no, pick Nunes. She's probably going to. That doesn't mean her opponent is a scrub who has zero chance of winning.
To Germaine de Randamie's credit, if I'm being fair, she certainly has a lot of wins on her record, such as it is. She has only 2 losses, one of which was to the Amanda Nunes, as I said before. Sorry, 3 losses. The other one, Julia frickin' Budd.
Hey, Julia Budd.
Strikeforce.
Julia Budd is good.
She's definitely got better since 2011, when they were rocking challenger cards.
Sure, they've both gotten better since then. I'm just saying Bud is actually a good fighter.
Yeah, Bud's fine. And you're not wrong. She was undefeated, 37-0 in kickboxing. Not Julia Budd, de Randamie.
I know. Look, I'm not saying this to say that an upset is imminent. I'm saying this so that if Amanda Nunes beats the brakes off of her in 2.5 minutes, understand it's an accomplishment, not the expected outcome.
Okay. I'm going to stand by my notion that this is not a showcase fight. That's mischaracterizing this fight. But I will tell you that in the play that is Nunes versus de Randamie, Nunes is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and de Randamie is a goat, being lowered ever so slowly by Crane.
That was the cow that was lowered by Crane. The goat came up out of the ground.
Fuck you. You know what I mean.
I do. I just can't help but point out when that's wrong.
Right. She's a cow. Perfect. And and unless she somehow pulls an upset here, I shall always refer to de Randamie now as the cow.
I'm sure that will not get you in any sort of trouble.
Not in 2019, no sir.
Look, again, I favor Nunes heavily, but Germaine de Randamie is not a soccer mom they pulled out of the 4th row. Germaine de Randamie is not Ronda Rousey trying to come back after years off, being under one of the worst head coaches that the sport has ever seen.
It was 1 year. Let's relax on the... I'll do the exaggerating around here. Thank you very much.
She is certainly not... I'm going to piss off some Valentina Shevchenko fans. She is certainly not Priscilla Cachoeira, who was fighting in a promotion in Brazil that literally holds fights on match they throw down under overpasses.
Perfect.
That is a thing because Brazil.
All right. Round 1. It's not over yet. We start off with a series of shared leg kicks between the two. And an overhand from Nunes sends de Randamie spiraling backwards into the cage. But Amanda Nunes gives her room to breathe. She does not go in for the kill, though she is licking her chops. I can see her doing it.
Don't want to get reckless. And not just...
Leg kick from de Randamie is caught. Nunes throws another overhand. De Randamie is able to defend. Amanda Nunes just brutalizing de Randamie's leg.
Yeah, both women have heavy kicks, and I expect them to use them to the extent they're not punching each other.
Bit tentative from both fighters. Another knock into the cage, and Nunes takes de Randamie down.
There we go. I say that's what I was waiting for, just because Amanda Nunes is a smart enough fighter to know this is where I have the greatest advantage. I'm going to do it.
All right, now she's standing over de Randamie, and if hardcore music were playing, she'd be picking up change. And she locks in a guillotine from the standing position. Yeah. She leans back. She's on the ground. Oh, de Randamie's got her head out. Good on you, de Randamie. Way to stay in the fight.
Ooh. Could be ugly if Nunes is not known for her work off of her back. She's a top player. If de Randamie commits to working from top position,
She isn't. They're currently standing. And you talked about de Randamie's knees. She's got educated knees. She got that showgirl's knee right up in Amanda Nunes' face while they are clinched up against the cage. And this really is what de Randamie wants to do. She wants to limit the power striking of Nunes, which currently isn't working, as Nunes just took her down again, proceeding to stand over her and beat her like she owes her money. De Randamie is now covering up for her life.
If she doesn't do something else, she's going to get stopped here, though.
Yeah. Amanda Nunes almost took an incidental up kick. Amanda working from full guard here. Currently, finally got her knees to the canvas. And de Randamie is just covering at this point.
Well, that's all you need to do in the moment here.
Well, she could try attacking from the bottom.
That's a bad idea. That's just going to give Nunes a chance to pass your guard.
Hey, guess what, folks? Amanda Nunes is standing over de Randamie and pounding her into so much ground beef.
That said, Nunes is putting out a fair bit of effort in this round.
Mm-hmm.
And Nunes' cardio is, I won't say a bad thing, but it's a bit of a question mark because she's never been pushed over a 5-round fight.
Okay. Other than frantically kicking her legs at Nunes to try to keep her from standing over her and pummeling her, Germaine de Randamie has given up any kind of offense in this fight.
Well, for the moment, yes.
And Nunes is currently working towards a head and arm choke, it looked like. Didn't quite get it. Looked like de Randamie was going to tap there for a moment, but didn't happen. Again, we're back to frantically trying to kick at Nunes' face from the bottom. Oh my God, she might actually survive round 1. Oh my stars and garters. And she just turtles up. Oh, Amanda Nunes, trying to be a nice lady about things, gave her hand, and de Randamie blew her off. That's very sportsmanlike at all.
You're in the fight.
Oh,
Talk to me after the fight.
The bros like to hug in the middle of the fight, at the beginning of the fight, at the end of the fight, later on at the bar.
Look, and if they do it in the middle of the cage, it pisses me off.
I'm just saying it's a thing that happens.
It doesn't mean I have to like it.
So, at least
10-8.
Glad we agree.
Yeah, that was a shellacking. Like, I'm not. No two ways about that one. Nunes smashed her. But there's a fair bit of energy expended, and while she scored at 10-8, that wasn't the kind of damaging performance you might be used to seeing out of Nunes. De Randamie...
Oh, now we're going to slap hands. Perfect.
De Randamie didn't take a tremendous amount of damage there, which is kind of surprising.
A lot of those shots were blocked, or there was so little room to punch, there wasn't a lot of mustard on them, even for a powerful puncher like Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes isn't... I mean, just look at her upper body, man. That is a powerful woman.
Girl's got some broad shoulders.
I almost made you know what, screw it. I mean, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. Yeah, that's a very broad, eh?
Terrific. I will give you a for your troubles.
Ooh. Why must you purr like a walrus?
Goo ka-choo. Anyway.
To the actual fight.
Not a whole lot happening here. We're back to trading leg kicks.
These two are swinging those kicks, man. Those are not nice.
The kind of kicks that would make Orange Cassidy blush.
Why must you bring up that goofus?
Nice uppercut for de Randamie. Way to be in the fight. Up. And down she goes. Another double leg takedown from Amanda Nunes.
Nice timing on that one.
Yeah, it was. She ducked. It was a duck under. She grabbed both legs and dumped her. It was very well done. Very textbook.
That's also a reaction to de Randamie's forward pressure, which Nunes is not very good off the back foot. I mean, she hasn't had to be by and large thus far in her career, but you saw that's part of her reaction to de Randamie being the one stalking forward. And it's a good thing to have in your back pocket, the ability to change the conditions of combat.
All right, this time de Randamie trying to, again, limit the amount of offense Nunes can pull off by holding on to her head, not allowing any space, and they are stood up.
Yeah, she's just stalling. But, hey, stalling is rewarded in MMA, much to my personal chagrin.
Ooh, nice head kick from de Randamie.
And Nunes, you were mocking me.
Nunes walks through it. Hey, look, she's already proven me wrong. She got out of the first round. I figured this would be over by now.
If you were betting, you'd have bet on the first 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, I would have. I don't know why you're giving her the extra minute there. But I'll tell you what, de Randamie just scored a series of strikes on Nunes, which resulted in Nunes tying her up. So, I mean, she's in this fight. She's. I will go ahead and take back the pig hostage remark. Germaine de Randamie has provided some stiff competition for Amanda Nunes thus far. Even though she lost a 10-8 round in the first round.
Hey, it happens. Frankie Edgar lost a round that should have been 10-7 and came back.
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder if Gray Maynard has like PTSD from that night.
Gray Maynard's not in the UFC anymore, therefore he doesn't exist.
Terrific.
Really good clinch work from de Randamie here.
She's on her back now. Amanda Nunes, they're back at where they started at the beginning of the round, with Amanda Nunes in guard and de Randamie stalling, as you put it, holding on to her head.
Yeah, if Nunes wants to actually work, she's going to have to get a takedown into something other than full guard. Because de Randamie is going to stall her out. She needs to not get into full guard and then hope to work a passing game. She's got to get into an advantageous position as they go down. Now, we can actually see the significant strike total in round 2. De Randamie outworking Nunes by a fairly significant margin.
Amanda Nunes currently standing over Germaine de Randamie. De Randamie placing some kicks from the back just above the knee and the thigh of Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, Nunes' best work this round has been on the mat. You can see de Randamie's technical superiority on the feet starting to play a role.
My feed of the show reset for some odd reason, so pardon me while I go play with my remote for just a second.
Because ESPN Plus.
All right, and we're going into round 3, and this is now twice as long as I thought it would be.
Boy, that was a really nice head kick from de Randamie. Very close to being a fight ender.
Yeah, it was. Who'd you give that last round to?
Nunes, but barely.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 90 seconds or so, when Nunes is not only on top, but actually landing elbows. If all she'd done was be stalled out again, I would have given that to de Randamie because she'd outdone her by such a significant margin.
Ooh. Good right from de Randamie. Backs Nunes up.
But all the credit in the world punches.
But all the credit in the world to Nunes for being able to walk through those. Nunes has decided that being on the feet with this woman is not a good strategy for her. She goes for yet another takedown against de Randamie at the cage. But, if you're going to keep doing that, Nunes, you got to start working that jiu-jitsu game. Quit worrying about pounding this woman out. She can clearly take a punch.
I'm a little bit surprised at how relatively easy Nunes is getting these takedowns.
What I'd like to see from her in the remainder of this third round, she's got plenty of time to work, a little less than 4 minutes. Start working for one of those arms, maybe grab a leg. But let's get this done by submission. Stop worrying about pounding her out. That clearly isn't working nearly as well for her as it has in previous fights.
Germaine de Randamie been positional.
Germaine de Randamie is made of sterner stuff.
Well, some of that's been positional. If you're in full guard and your opponent's really locking you down, your best bet is actually to strike. Unless you have a really good passing game, it's just unlikely to occur, especially if your opponent has a really good defensive guard.
Amanda Nunes delivers an elbow on the ground to de Randamie. Now, de Randamie has not been able to do much in these positions, but she has prevented Nunes from gaining too much of an advantage on the ground. She's just not winning the fight.
Yeah, that seems to be more her preparatory MO for this was, okay, if I get taken down, don't be stupid, don't expose yourself to real damage, make her work, and look for either stand-ups or to tire her out over the course of the entire fight.
Right, but then you should have spent a majority of your camp working on takedown defense.
Yeah, that's why I've been surprised at how easy Nunes has been getting those. I mean, Nunes has a good takedown game to begin with. I don't mean to say that de Randamie is some schlub. No,
but you do need to work on getting your dick in the dirt. Work those hips. Try doing some drills where you anticipate the takedown and you get your knees up there. I mean, who knows? She might have been able to turn this fight around if she had pulled a what's his face against Ben Askren.
Okay. The running flying knee against Amanda Nunes, probably not the best idea.
Well, I didn't say a running flying knee. I'm saying
that's what Masvidal did.
I understand.
He sprinted across the cage, threw a flying knee, and Askren ducked into it.
Okay, so part of that is what I'm trying to do. You draw a circle around the relevant part, see?
There are plenty of better examples of fighters using reactive knee strikes to punish takedown attempts.
Okay. Perfect, but that's what I was going for there.
I mean, we could go old school and say, somewhat terrible human being, but Artemis Franca constantly timed Sean Shirk in their title fight. Mirko Krokop used to be great about that. He shattered whose eye did he just destroy? Was it Fujita's? I think it was Fujita's. Uriah Faber used to do it a lot. He used to let people get the single leg or the high crotch position and then jump with his other leg for knees when he was still an athlete.
So for those of you saying, hey, what happened to the fight? Amanda Nunes is sitting on Germaine de Randamie and elbowing her about the head. Nice takedown once again by Nunes. I liked what she did there.
Yeah, the more motion she can create on the ground. She spent some time in like north-south position that round, and that's a really bad spot if you're de Randamie.
All right, we're into the championship rounds here, and it's been all Amanda Nunes all the time. As we see in the replay here, Amanda Nunes putting her hips on Germaine de Randamie and proceeding to hit her with elbows. Another clear round for Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, I don't know if that should be 10-8 or not. You know what?
I think so.
It's marginal, but under the... Oh, she did get hit with that right, didn't she? Yeah, okay, 10-9. That said, I would understand a 10-8 for Nunes there.
Round 4. Here we go. I don't think Germaine de Randamie wants to be in that cage anymore.
I mean, the number of people who actually want to still be in the cage with Amanda Nunes after the first 20 seconds is really short. That said, de Randamie still seems to be taking instruction from her coach as well. She knows she's down, clearly, but she's not out of the fight yet.
Speaking of down, there she goes.
Yeah, I almost wonder if there wasn't some kind of injury that de Randamie's been nursing with how easy she's giving these up.
I don't think it was something that they worked a whole hell of a lot of in her camp.
If that's true, that is a catastrophic oversight.
I think a lot of their strategy was, we'll keep this on the feet, and you will defeat her with superior boxing.
And in all fairness, if this were a pure kickboxing match, I would favor her. But it's not.
Yes, the sign on the door reads mixed martial arts. As I was going to say, if your thought going into this fight was, I'll keep it on the feet, bold move, Cotton.
Let's see how it plays out. The answer, thus far, not well. Yeah, and on that takedown, you saw her move, like she completed it basically into half guard, which is a much better position to land damage, to threaten passes, and to not be stalled out from.
A lot of what we've already seen here. Amanda Nunes working from a guard position and just elbowing up.
Nunes is getting her posture much easier now. This is going from bad to worse.
Amanda Nunes grinding her way to a victory thus far.
Hey, sometimes that's how you have to do it.
And I'm out there grinding.
Is that a song?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it.
Heard it a lot when I used to judge fights. So Germaine de Randamie.
You know what? Just say GDR. We all know what you mean.
So GDR had Amanda Nunes' head wrapped up in her rather leggy legs. But Amanda Nunes escaped as I was telling you that, and is now trying to force GDR back to the canvas. And she does.
Okay, that mounted triangle armbar, that was pretty close.
But she didn't get it. And now she's on her ass again.
Okay, no, sorry. It wasn't that close. It was a good sweep. She just needed a second effort and didn't really put it in.
This is a war of attrition for GDR.
Yeah, she's really hoping that Nunes just gasses herself out, because at this point she's not making her work.
Just get tired of hitting her? Is that what we're hoping for here if you're GDR?
Pretty much. Which is, again, a really bad strategy. Plenty of fighters with very questionable cardio can fight for a long time if it's at the pace they want to fight at. You want to break that up, you have to get them out of that pace, one way or another. That said, watch de Randamie pull off some kind of Hail Mary in the 5th round, just because MMA is crazy.
Your winner, a new Bantamweight champion by head kick KO at 4:59.
Of the 5th. No, if it goes that far, I don't think she'll have it. She's got to do it early in the 5th if she's going to pull it off.
I'm going to give you fair warning that if she does win by head kick KO in the 5th round, I'm going to have to walk for a while.
That's fine. We can tell you what. If she does, you pause this for the entire duration of Holloway and Volkanovski.
Fair enough.
And just let me enjoy that.
How is your fight? It's still going on, but I have to go live in the woods to live deliberately now.
Hey, deliberation does not wait for convenient timing.
This is true. In the replay, we see that mounted triangle cat. Like she was, I mean, she was sitting on her chest and shoulders, but that was about it. I mean, that she didn't really have a good grasp on the arm.
She also never, it's not just the arm, she never had her legs all the way kind of around the neck. She was around the temples and the head.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't almost, it really wasn't so much a triangle as she was just kind of sitting on her.
Yeah, it was a triangle. It was a triangle sweep instead of a real like choke attempt. And once she gets to top position with the mounted triangle, if there's a second effort there to either really separate or actually like sit back towards mount instead of being that high on the head, she might have secured the position.
By the way, they just hugged again.
Yeah, and I am not happy about it.
All right. I don't know if everyone's drinking while they're listening to this podcast, but if you drink every time Amanda Nunes gets a takedown, go ahead and take that drink.
I mean, there's no reason not. Like, again, if you're Nunes, hey, guess where I'm winning the most? And guess what Germaine de Randamie has done nothing to disincentivize me from doing?
So, with a brief stand-up and a water break, we're right back where we were in the last 2-3 rounds. Fantastic. Remember that UFC card that had 3 title fights and they all went to decisions, and it was and it went on till about last week?
Yeah, not only did they all go the distance, they all changed hands. The last time there was a triple header of title fights, every champion lost.
Good times.
For half of the equation.
I just, I believe the feedback on that particular card was worst UFC card ever.
Which was wildly inaccurate, by the way.
Amanda Nunes continuing to batter Germaine de Randamie.
I don't know why you went French with that. Again, she's Dutch.
Dutch, French, same thing.
That is not even remotely true.
Same colors in the flag.
Okay, if that's going to be your standard, are you going to call her Russian now?
I was thinking about it, to be honest with you.
Or how about Croatian?
Well, no, Croatians have like hash marks on their flag.
No, sorry, you are no.
Yeah, they have like not cross, but the like shield.
So no. Oh, so what? A crest in the middle of it changes
yes,
that
crest.
entirely?
That's the word I was looking for.
No. A crest in the middle of it does not change the fact that it's a red bar, a white bar, and a blue bar.
No, that's why the Mexican flag and the Italian flag look nothing alike, because the Mexican flag has a little crest in the middle.
True. But okay, so would you consider the Italian flag and the Iranian flag to then look the same?
Practically identical.
Because one only they're the same colors. One is vertical, one is horizontal.
That would be correct, sir.
You are a xenophobic mess.
I would have thought you would have gone for the low-hanging fruit and just said ignoramus.
I've called you that enough. Like, if that were going to sting, it would have done so already. For the record, we're discussing flag iconography.
Whoa! You think xenophobia is going to sting with me? Hi, I'm Mark. Have we met?
That's fair. Okay. I'll come up with a better way to say that. I'll come up with a better one for next time. Anyway, for those of you wondering why we're discussing flag iconography, Germaine de Randamie still retains full guard, still gets hit every now and then, as Nunes can't pass, but does enough to avoid a stand-up. That's been this round.
So instead, we've resorted to the usual here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, mild racism.
Look, I bring the mild, you bring the racism. All right, let's be clear about that.
This is why I can't do this for any other website. No one would tolerate my chicanery.
We'd tone it down. Well, in all seriousness, you and I both know we would. Like, we'd figure out beforehand, okay, which jokes can we use?
Right. I probably wouldn't call the Dutch woman French.
You'd probably still do that.
Also, Germaine...
You wouldn't call her a cow.
I wouldn't call her a cow, you're right. Germaine de Randamie also sounds very French. It doesn't sound Dutch.
All right. Again, they're geographically close enough for there to be bits of cultural overlap, depending on where you are specifically within.
Well, let's talk about my last name for a second. My last name is Radulich, which is wildly Croatian, but there were bits and pieces of time where that part of Italy, that part of the country was shared by Italy. So my grandfather always said we were 100% Italian, despite the Croatian last name. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who do not give a shit about this, Amanda Nunes just won by decision. I mean, not officially, but that's where this is headed. Ugh, I tell you.
Hey, she's a pig hostage, right?
Oh, shut your whore mouth.
Hey, I am not going to let you live that one down that easily, just for the record.
Fair enough. All right, we have a unanimous decision win for Amanda Nunes. Robert, what were the scorecards exactly?
Our official scores for this were 49-44, 49-46, and 49-45. For the record, whatever jackass went 49-46, you only arrive at 49-46 if you do not give Amanda Nunes a single 10-8 round. You are a moron. I have no issue with Germaine de Randamie taking the second round, just for the record. None. That said, again, I gave her a lot of 10-8s. I was 50-42, I think. I would have been more in line with 49-44, because at a minimum, I think she should have had the first clearly, and then the fifth, even though it wasn't an action-packed round, I don't think de Randamie landed anything of value the entire round, and winning by that big a margin is grounds for a 10-8 round under the scoring criteria we're operating under.
So, did they talk about who's next for Amanda Nunes? Is there anybody on the horizon?
No one knows.
Featherweight or bantamweight?
It was supposed to be, like, the big thought was it would be Ketlin Vieja, who was undefeated, had been kind of in that position to fight in title eliminators, but between injury, either to her or someone else, it never quite materialized. She returned on this card And unfortunately for her and her title aspirations in the immediate future, got knocked out.
Yeah, she got knocked out by Aldana, who had a killer left hook there. Unfortunately, she just lost a fight not that long ago to Raquel Pennington, which blew a 3-fight winning streak. So, she might need another fight or two. She also needs some... she might need another fight or two under her belt before she fights the champ.
Here's the reality. There is no one at the moment. Like, they're going to have to manufacture something to spin something up and do something that way, because if we're going based on fan interest, there's just not a lot. If we're going on, streaking contenders who are very clearly deserving of a title shot, we're pretty thin. There's just not a tremendous amount of options here. In fact, for the sake of hilarity, let us have a look at the rankings for women's bantamweight as they currently stand, without factoring into consideration results from this evening. So, coming into this evening, we had Nunes as champion, Germaine de Randamie at 1, Ketlin Vieja at 2, Holly Holm at 3, shouldn't be 3, Aspen Ladd tied for 3rd, also not accurate, Juliana Pena at 5th, Raquel Pennington 6th, Yana Kunitskaya 7, Marion Renault 8, Sarah McMahon 9, Sarah McMahon shouldn't be ranked, Irene Aldana 10, Landsberg 11, Macy Chiasson 12, Betch Correia 13, Nico Montano 14, Sajara Eubanks 15. Mark, I defy you to find a motlier assemblage of top-ranked talent that's supposed to be loosely in the title picture. I don't see it. Again, Germaine de Randamie just got her shot, lost badly. Ketlin Vieja lost. Holly Holmes already lost to Nunes. Aspen Ladd got finished by Germaine de Randamie prior to her rebound performance most recently. Juliana Pena is no one knows. The UFC would like to make her into a bigger deal, but she can't ever really string things together. It's just an odd spot that whole division is in, and there is no featherweight division.
Does George Lucas's daughter still fight, or did she finally give this up?
I was not aware George Lucas's daughter fought. I was not honestly aware he had a daughter.
She did some fighting, I believe, in Japan in some lower level MMA. She was a husky gal, and so she fought 2 or 3 weight classes.
I don't like what you're implying about George Lucas's taste in, because he has all the huskies.
First of all, quit muscling in on my racket. Second of all,
can't help it.
I'll make the dumb jokes around here, sir. Let me see here. Personal life. Where does it say who his kids are? Katie Lucas. Here we go. Nope, wrong one. Amanda Lucas. That's who she is. There we go. Amanda Lucas, is according to this, is still a fighter. Nope, she fought from 2008 to 2012, so she hasn't been active in quite some time. She's the eldest daughter of George Lucas.
Boy, she probably took a lot of damage from unhappy Star Wars fans. Just people vicariously expressing their displeasure at George Lucas and his existence.
So the last thing it says on her was Lucas planned to fight twice in 2013, but the first bout fell through and the second was canceled as a result of Lucas sustaining an injury. She eventually decided to withdraw from MMA activities to have a child, her son Felix, Born in 2014. Oh, so she's home being a mom. Yes, all of her fights except for 4 of her last 6 fights, and she only has 6, were in Tokyo, Japan. She was the deep open weight women's champion. How about that, huh?
Look, if it's open weight, quote unquote, they invented it.
She fought
fight in a weight class.
She fought at Deep 55 Impact in 2011, Deep Caged Impact in 2011. She fought at Deep 57 in 2012, and then her last one was Cage Impact 2012 in Tokyo, where she won a majority decision in a 2-round fight. How does that work?
It's Japanese MMA. Don't ask me to explain it.
All right.
Not just because I don't like. You can't. Not just me. Like no one. Oh, and here we go, baby. This is the fight I've been looking forward to the most. Alexander Volkanovski on his way to the cage.
All right. So you did a whole thing on this. Do your thing.
Sort of. I did a little thing on this.
Show everyone your little thing.
I really shouldn't feed you straight lines like that, but okay. This is, on paper, the stiffest challenge to Max Holloway's featherweight title, Alexander Volkanovski. Holloway is taller by a non-trivial margin, but Volkanovski actually has a reach advantage. Volkanovski is on a 17-fight winning streak. 5 or 6-0 in the UFC. I should actually have that. 7 wins in the UFC, my mistake. And his last 2 wins, he knocked out Chad Mendes and beat Jose Aldo via comprehensive unanimous decision, 30-27 on all 3 scorecards. He is on a great run. He comes from a really great camp. And he presents some very real problems for Max Holloway. He is a pressure-oriented fighter. He brings a lot of power, a lot of physical strength. He's able to both wrestle and strike. He transitions well between the two. He wears damage well if you do happen to hit him. He doesn't get hit all that often. In fact, if you look at the numbers, Max Holloway gets hit something like twice as much as he does on average. Max Holloway, of course, hasn't lost at featherweight in, how many years? Since 2013. Has 4 title defenses under his belt, is going for his 5th. No, sorry, only 3. 3 title defenses. Aldo, Ortega, only the 3. The only loss he suffered since 2013 was a move up to lightweight to challenge Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight title, and Poirier defeated him. One of the better fights of this year. If you haven't seen it, please look it up. It's a great fight. We have a battle of 2 of the best walkouts in the game. Volkanovski comes out to the Game of Thrones theme, where Max Holloway comes out to Hawaiian Kickboxer. Max Holloway's walkout game is very strong. I genuinely cannot wait for this fight. I have been excited about this. I thought Volkanovski should have got the shot over Frankie Edgar that earlier this year, I think it was. This is the best fight at featherweight you can make right now. I am so giddy almost about this fight.
Hot diggity giggity?
Hot diggity giddy? Yeah. It's Max Holloway, man. I always love watching Max Holloway fight.
Well, I find it adorable when you get so excited about something that you say hot diggity.
I've only done that a couple of times.
It was adorable, every single one of them.
Yeah, fair enough. I am occasionally adorable to Mark Radulich. That will help ease my crippling depression and loneliness.
All right, so how do you see now? Do you see this being a pick'em? Do you favor Max Holloway in this fight?
I lean very slightly towards Holloway. I can't look at the streak Max Holloway is on. Look at the names he's beaten. I cannot in good conscience pick against him. That said, Volkanovski is a very live underdog, to the extent that he is. He can absolutely win this fight. Volkanovski has a very tricky striking game. He disguises a tremendous amount of what he does with feints, fakes. He has very good footwork. He pressures forward very well. He circles well. He's very active. This is a real serious fight between these two. Again, gun to my head, pick somebody. I pick Max. Am I going to be surprised at all if Volkanovski wins? Not one bit. I don't even care how. Like, if he comes out and throws a Jorge Masvidal flying knee, okay, that might shock me. Anything else, what doesn't matter the round, doesn't matter the method. Either of these guys could finish the other at any time in any way. They are both that good. This also might serve as not an actual preview, but kind of a visual preview of Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, given how these two gentlemen look opposite each other, and elements of the style matchup, although Volkanovski is not Khabib and Max is not Tony. In all honesty, one of my dream fights right now is actually Tony and Max Holloway. Just the insanity of those two men. Oh, it would be so good.
All right. We are ready to begin. I didn't get my first round finished in the last fight, so here's hoping somebody takes a straight shot to the nose.
Not impossible, but unlikely. Both gentlemen have proven the ability to wear damage. Max Holloway, not a one-hitter-quitter style of fighter either. Volkanovski's a little bit more, but even then, not. The number of guys he knocks out with one punch is low. He packs power, to be sure. I don't mean to say that he doesn't. I mean, Volkanovski also used to weigh like 215 pounds. He used to play rugby.
Ooh.
I mean, that was kind of the gag for a while. Was anytime he fought a featherweight, he'd say, I don't mind fighting the little guys. They don't hit that hard. Even though he himself is, by his own admission, mind you, this is something he said. He referred to his fight with Chad Mendes as the Battle of the Hobbits. Because they're both on the shorter side. Volkanovski has a tremendous sense of humor. He's impossible to dislike.
All right, we are ready to get underway here. It's a hell of a height advantage for Max Holloway.
5 inches. That said, he does have a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. Holloway is an oddly proportioned individual.
Alrighty, here we go. Round 1 of our second championship fight of the evening.
I did not realize Max Holloway was favored at 2-1. That seems a little steep to me, in all honesty.
All right, both men are currently circling, trying to feel the other guy out. We have a leg kick being thrown. That's about it so far.
Both men are very read-dependent in what they do, so expect the first couple of minutes to be a lot of faking, feinting, figuring out what the other one's doing. But once this thing gets going, God, I hope I'm not setting myself up to look like a complete moron. Once this gets going, it's really going to get going, but the way both men fight, it might take a bit to get there.
All right, Max Holloway can tend to just kind of throw a punch or two and then back off. He keeps disengaging at different angles, which I think is good if you're going to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to be predictable against either of these guys, so high variance in what they're doing is going to be critical. Both men also very aware this is a 5-round fight. They're not going to do too much too early and potentially jeopardize a longer game plan.
Yeah, but I'm tired. They need to step on it.
Look, they're both fighting for like six-figure paychecks and a UFC title. They do not care that you're tired.
Volkanovski landed one on Holloway's jawline, but he seemed to walk through it.
Yeah, Max has a very good chin. I mean, Dustin Poirier rattled him, but the type of punches Poirier rattled him with have slept plenty of other elite-level fighters.
Bit of a clash there. Volkanovski got backed off.
A lot of this is going to come down to which fighter is pressuring forward. Both men are capable of fighting off the back foot, but they prefer to be the one going forward. So whoever is moving forward is likely to be at an advantage for the duration of their forward motion.
About halfway through this round now. Close fight so far.
Good left to the body from Volkanovski. He's also leg kicking quite well, which is going to be a problem for Max as the fight wears on. Volkanovski, I think a lot of the kind of tenor of his timing and his whatnot, he builds off of his active kicking game, which you don't see highlighted a lot of, but he has a very good inside leg kick, very active lead leg generally that he uses to kind of set up everything else. And he's been punting Max Holloway in the leg a lot.
Leg kick from Max Holloway.
You know, oddly enough, all things considered, Volkanovski's winning this round so far.
Volkanovski with a kick, then a combination.
He builds off of his kicking game very well. You'll see him do that a fair bit. He'll kick, then shift and start landing punches.
Nice evasion there from Holloway. Volkanovski was throwing some hot fire. Now they are clinched against the cage.
This is another area that I was very curious to see play out because Volkanovski's clinch game is extremely high level. And Max Holloway doesn't spend a lot of time in the clinch of his own volition. In some respects to his detriment. Dustin Poirier stalled out, and I don't mean that as a negative, portions of their fight by clinching him on the fence, buying himself time to recover, stopping Holloway's momentum, and just again, running clock in a fight he was ahead on. And it's a legitimate strategy.
Side kick from Max Holloway. Ooh! Holloway ate one coming in there. And that is the end of round one. We'll be right back.
Fair enough. Again, good round for Volkanovski. Now, Max has been known to drop the first round on occasion to facilitate getting reads and figuring out what you're doing, but really, really solid overall round from Volkanovski that he's going to try to replicate going forward. And
we are back in at round two.
if I can Get some of these things to sort themselves out a little bit. That would be nice. Again, good first round. I gave it to Volkanovski.
Pretty even exchange so far in the second round. Volkanovski is really tearing apart that lead leg from Max Holloway.
Yeah, it's a part of his game that doesn't get a tremendous amount of credit, but he has a great kicking game. Pretty good right to the body from Holloway there. His right straight to the body is a constant weapon. It is one that leaves him open to a few... There are some counters to that attack. It's a dangerous one to use, but he uses it very well.
Not a lot of clean lands in between the two of them. A lot of blocked, a lot of grazing punches.
Yeah, both men have good defense and good chins. Again, Volkanovski gets hit, if you look at the statistics, about half as often as Max Holloway does. Holloway knows he has a good chin and will rely on it, to his detriment on occasion. But there's going to be a lot of that. Ooh, nice inside leg kick to right hand from Volkanovski.
Volkanovski got him right in the inner thigh.
Yeah, he is fighting through, less than 10 minutes. A really nice fight. I did a whole thing about parts of Volkanovski's game, and I even said, don't be surprised if he wins. I'm a little surprised at how, not that he is winning, but at how well he's fighting so far. He is looking very, very good.
I mean, Max Holloway is demonstrating so far in a little less than 2 rounds that he's not the easiest guy to hit, but he's not doing a whole lot to gain points in this fight either.
No, and that's a problem he's going to have if he doesn't find some kind of adjustment. Because Volkanovski, his footwork is very nice. He's moving well. He's giving ground when he needs to. He's trying to make Max Holloway pay, and Max relies on his reads a fair bit. And Volkanovski has, as with most of the guys from City Kickboxing, disguised a tremendous amount of his game behind a layer of fakes, feints, another layer of fakes and feints above that, and then what he actually does. It's very, very sophisticated.
Ooh. Max Holloway caught in the jaw there, but keeps circling. For a leggy fella, he is very quick on his feet.
Yeah. There's very little that Max Holloway doesn't do well. If Volkanovski wins, it's not because Max Holloway is deficient in some area. It's just Volkanovski will have found an avenue that he can exploit and has a better night, necessarily, than Holloway does.
Oh, Max Holloway. See, the last time I saw Max Holloway fight, he was tearing up his opponent's face with his
You watched the
punches.
Ortega fight.
Yeah.
Brian Ortega's striking defense and even his striking offense is nothing near the level of Volkanovski's. Not even close.
All right, an exchange of leg kicks there ends round 2.
Another round for Volkanovski from where I sit. He's just doing better work and more consistent work.
Be curious to see if how Max Holloway's game changes after 2 and 3 rounds of being kicked repeatedly in the front leg.
Well, Holloway's an ambidextrous striker anyway. So, point being, I don't think that the act of having to fight southpaw will be a tremendous deterrent for him, because he voluntarily fights southpaw a fair bit anyway. But if he has to fight southpaw to the exclusion of orthodox, that's where a problem might arise.
All right, here we go, round 3.
But you could see even in the second round, I gave it to Volkanovski, but Max is starting to get a feel for him. He's starting to reach him with his punches a little bit, especially towards the end of that round. But Max Holloway's left leg is, in fact, compromised.
Well, Volkanovski tried to kind of cover up, duck in, and maybe score a hook or so, but Max Holloway saw it coming and got out of the way.
Yeah, if Volkanovski has a second gear to his game plan, now is about the time he's going to have to unveil it, because Holloway seems to have a bit of a read on him now.
Some front kicks there by Volkanovski.
This is really high-level stuff. I am tremendously enjoying this fight.
I wish Max Holloway would take a chance or two here. I mean, it's been one-sided in the sense that, much like we were talking about earlier today, where Volkanovski is doing the bulk of the attacking and Max Holloway is defending and evading, but he's not really putting a lot of effort into taking the fight to Volkanovski.
Well, there's danger to that. Nice left from Volkanovski.
You say there's danger, but you can't win the fight unless you actually try to win the fight.
I am aware. I'm just trying to explain the thought process, not necessarily saying I disagree with you.
If you sit here...
Oh, good grief. Volkanovski, you see here Max Holloway trying to be more proactive now, and Volkanovski is catching him every time. Max, if he's got a read, he's got to start capitalizing, because he is those leg kicks into shifting right hands from Volkanovski are finding his face repeatedly. Again, this is a tremendous. Even if he winds up losing, this is a tremendous fight Volkanovski's been fighting so far.
Yes, he's been very composed.
That's all you can say. Oh God, I need someone I can talk to about this stuff.
I'm here. Go ahead and talk. The problem.
No. I don't want to lecture. I need.
Look, here's the thing. I get the finer points of this fight, and I'm trying to stay invested in it. It doesn't help that I'm getting exhausted.
No, I don't blame you. It's almost 1 a.m. there. There's still another fight. It's been kind of a long card the last few fights. I understand. I really do.
Yeah, I'm trying my level best to stay up and invested. I keep getting up. I grabbed something to drink, but we're starting to actually see something else here.
I told you, once this gets going, it's really going to get going. but I am shocked at just how much Volkanovski has neutralized Max Holloway. This is kind of what he did to Aldo. He just did not allow, through various technical means, he never allowed Aldo into the fight. And Aldo, in some respects, will fight in a way that accommodates that. The fact that he has now done this to Max Holloway, who is a very different fighter, is incredibly impressive.
To his credit, Max throwing a lot, but it's just not all of it's hitting. And then he's getting hit pretty often by Volkanovski.
Yeah, if the game is hit and don't get hit, one guy's winning, and it's the short guy from Australia.
All right, we are moving into round 4, and I would say it's all 3 rounds right now to Volkanovski.
Best case Max has is the second. I've got Volkanovski up 3 rounds. This is again. I am enjoying the hell out of this fight. This is a tremendous fight from Volkanovski.
I'm wondering how frustrated Max Holloway is at this point.
That's a good question. I mean, Max is a very composed fighter. He never lost his cool even when he was down rounds and being bludgeoned by Dustin Poirier. But Poirier fought him, and that's not. I shouldn't say it like that. Volkanovski is fighting. That's not what I mean to imply. Poirier fought in a more like deliberately engaging style. And the style that Volkanovski is employing might be more frustrating to Max than the fact that he's down rounds, although the two probably feed into each other.
Some more leg kicks there from Volkanovski.
A
big hook from Volkanovski.
I said it publicly. If Max Holloway doesn't find a way to it, one of the things Max is going to have to deal with is find a way to address the lead leg kicking game of Volkanovski. If he doesn't, he's going to have a hard time. And he hasn't. And he's had a really hard time.
I'll tell you what, if that left hook from Volkanovski connects in the right way, I think Max Holloway may be getting knocked out of this fight.
Yeah, Volkanovski has power. Max, tremendous chin, but Volkanovski's not here to. He's here to win this fight.
I tell you what, good pace from Volkanovski. He is throwing a lot.
Both of these gentlemen have tremendous cardio. Either of their punch counts falling off was not really a concern here. Max Holloway going to that side kick's been an interesting decision. Volkanovski's had a counter for it. Volkanovski is, again, he's swinging.
Max Holloway's starting to come back now. He landed 2 straight into Volkanovski's face, which backed him off.
Hey, I'm happy about this. Again, I love this fight so far, and Max Holloway is a guy who comes on. You know, he's a strong fighter. He's good at, and if he gets a read, then you're going to be in trouble.
Right hook from Volkanovski doesn't quite do what he needs it to. Good double jab from Max Holloway. I like the double jab from Max Holloway.
Holloway's jab is tremendous and has been for quite a while.
So, Max Holloway spent the majority of this fight on the cage or being backed up into it. Now it's Volkanovski who keeps getting backed into the cage.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Both men have taken turns going forward or backwards. There's been a lot of push and pull as far as that goes throughout the course of this fight.
Oh, we finally got some roadhouse happening here. These guys are trading punches directly to the face. Some of the defense seems to have gone out the window.
Yep. The blood is up at this point, and we're going to get some crazy stuff.
Volkanovski looked like he was grabbing Max Holloway's head and trying to do some Muay Thai knee strikes, but Max Holloway shrugged him off.
Yeah, Volkanovski, if he's going to clinch, is going to be better off going to body locks than he is, trying to reach up and grab a much taller fighter like that.
All right, we're into the last round here. Round 5 of this championship fight. So, this is the final round. They were starting to come really alive there towards the end of 4. If you're in... Now, I believe at this point...
And Volkanovski has outstruck Holloway in every round.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's 4-0 Volkanovski. I mean, theoretically, he's won this fight on the cards, no?
Holloway's got a decent case for the 4th round, but yeah, I'm inclined to Volkanovski still.
Even if he won that 4th round, if Volkanovski won those first 3 on the cards, the fight's over.
Well, yeah. Max could get a 10-8 and then force a draw. But I am at a minimum, Max cannot fight like he's up on the scorecards.
No. Inside leg kick.
Those have been tearing up Max Holloway.
Yes, they have.
And if that winds up being as big a part of how this fight goes as it has been to this point, and Volkanovski wins, I'm probably going to pat myself a little bit on the back over that one, which I don't do often, but I will in this case.
Up. Volkanovski tags Max Holloway in an upward motion. I mean, Max Holloway's pretty tall.
Yeah, pretty much everything he's going to land is kind of becoming up.
God, just when I think this is just, we're going to start to see a finishing sequence, Max Holloway just shrugs it off. You're not kidding when you say he's got a great chin.
That dude, Dustin Poirier hit that man with everything but the kitchen sink and couldn't get him out of there.
Sure.
Up at lightweight.
Yeah.
Like, I respect Volkanovski's power. That's not the point. But a guy like Dustin Poirier, that big of a natural hitter, up a weight class, couldn't get him out of there. Not saying it's impossible, but it's unlikely. And now watch the judges screw this up.
Yeah.
Like that, it would just be one of those things.
All right, we're down to the last half of the round here. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you and I both think that Volkanovski ran away with the first 3 rounds. So I'm going to go ahead.
I wouldn't say ran away with, but won.
I'm going to go ahead and make another bold prediction that Volkanovski will win, but he will win by split decision.
Sure, because that's just how this goes at this point.
All right. Something different here. Volkanovski gets underhooks and drives Max Holloway into the cage.
He's going to try to stall out, and I don't mean that in a negative. Like if you're ahead and you believe you're ahead and you can get to a winning position like that against Max freaking Holloway, you take it.
Leg kick combination from Volkanovski. Uppercut to the body.
Nice framing by Holloway in the clinch. He is very aware that this is a position he could be at a disadvantage in, and did not allow that to develop at all.
All right, we're down to the last minute of this fight. And Max Holloway better figure out something to do.
Volkanovski is turning it on. Holloway is going to try to goad him into a brawl. And Volkanovski, I do not believe, will oblige him. Nor should he. That would be the height of stupidity.
Good clean left from Max Holloway.
Yeah, I am amazed he's not found the target more, but when he has, Max Holloway is a clean puncher.
Yep. Max Holloway trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit here in these final few seconds. They both raise their arms. All right, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and say split decision here, but we'll see just how close I am on the judges' scorecards momentarily. All right, we have the official decision. Your winner and new featherweight, undisputed featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski, by unanimous decision, 48-47, 48-47, and 50-45. How did you personally score the fight?
I have initially scored at 50-45. That said, there's at least 2 rounds that Max Holloway turned in impressive showings in, the second and the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
That I also want to note, I am both live blogging this and talking to Mark, so if my scores are terrible, I'm not being paid to do it, and I am doing it under less than ideal circumstances. So,
and now we have that out of the way. All right. In the preliminary card on ESPN2, we had Matt Brown win by TKO over Ben Saunders in the second round with elbows and punches. Very good fight. Amari Akhmedov defeated Ian Heinzich by unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. The aforementioned Irene Aldana brained Ketlin Vieira, KO punches in the first round. Good left hook directly in the jaw, and Vieira's lights went out momentarily. And Jeff Neal, who's not here to be paid by the hour. God damn.
He's got to get back to his job as a server.
Brutalized.
Not a joke. The man is still a server at a high-end bistro.
Brutalized Mike Perry in the first round via head kick and punches. TKO. So what did you think of the ESPN2 prelim card?
It was fine. Again, some good fights. I think you brought up the appropriate highlights. Jeff Neal needs ranked opposition. This is getting silly. He's just a really good fighter and should be fighting. This is not to besmirch Mike Perry, who's certainly a fan-friendly fighter, certainly a dangerous opponent, but is not ranked, and not ranked for a reason.
All right, and now we come to it. Your Olympic gold medalist, Colby Covington.
Not true.
Who's here to make America great again.
That is his shtick, yes.
He believes in the 3 R's. Respect, responsibility, and retribution.
I don't believe he has publicly stated that, but
I don't remember what Kurt Angle's 3 R's were, by the way.
They were the 3 I's.
Oh, damn. I'm so tired.
Intelligence, integrity, and intensity, for the record.
Thank you. Yes, that's what Colby Covington believes.
Colby Covington believes in making money. And beating people up is a means of doing so.
Your interim welterweight champion, Colby Covington.
No.
Your people's champion.
Your former interim welterweight champion. Hang on. Keep talking. I've got to cycle the dogs very briefly while we're in the build-up for this fight.
Your universal MMA champion, Colby Covington, takes on welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman won the UFC welterweight title in March of this past year, defeating Tyrone Woodley by unanimous decision. He has not lost a fight since his second fight ever in his career in in mixed martial arts. It was at CFA 11. He lost by submission in 2013 in Coral Gables, Florida. Since then, he has led a path of destruction. He won the Ultimate Fighter 21.
It's been rough. It's been rough for his opponents. He barely loses rounds and hangs a lot of 10-8s on people.
So, all right, what can we expect between Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman in this fight?
As mentioned, Colby Covington is again coming out to Kurt Angle's WWE theme, so credit to him for leaning into the gimmick.
Perfect.
I mean, he did that for the Lawler fight, too, so he's just kind of doing it now, and, God bless him. What can we expect? These are two very high-level wrestlers. However, they go about utilizing that skill set in very different ways. Colby Covington in his last few fights has significantly improved his work rate and where he does it. He does a lot more fighting on the feet. I mean, against Robbie Lawler, he attempted over 500 significant strikes, to say nothing of what the statistics team says of insignificant blows. He has an absurd pace. But Covington's pace is somewhat dependent on motion, on aerobic mobility. He likes to move. He likes to keep you working. When wrestling, he's not about control positions. He doesn't like to squash you and hold you. He likes to keep moving. And if you present him with something, he'll take it. But his primary goal is more to keep you in motion and drain your energy that way. By contrast, Kamaru Usman loves to drain your energy through a high-pace, control-based fight. He likes the clinch. He likes being on top. He likes to get you into a position and stick you there and then beat you up while you can't move, which is still very labor-intensive, but it's isometric work rather than aerobic work. And that, to me, is the key thing about this fight. If you want to get a handle on who's going to be winning, Look at whether or not they are constantly moving or whether or not they're a bit more static, because the static positions favor Usman, the mobile ones favor Covington.
All right. If I asked you to pick a winner here, what do you think?
I lean just a little towards Usman. Covington has a very, very real chance of this, of taking this fight, and I mean, the joke actually is this is the equivalent of Trump's presidential election. The number of people in the MMA media who just are not emotionally prepared for Covington to be champion is hilariously high.
Well, of course, that's why I'm rooting for him.
Again, great fight on paper. I'm definitely looking forward to this. Very interesting stylistic clash. Usman is the harder puncher, but doesn't like to punch a lot. When he punches at distance, it's more the traditional wrestler learning to strike stuff. It's 1 or 2 at a time, occasionally 3. If he thinks you're hurt, he'll try to swarm. But when he engages in prolonged swinging bouts, whether he lands or not, that's the only time I've seen him really fatigued in a fight. Was he really tried to tee off on Tyron Woodley in the pocket, found moderate success, but wound up clinching again just to give himself a chance to recover. He's conditioned for control positioning, for static motion, to the extent that that's not just a giant... it's late. Now my brain's going. Crap, what's the word?
Ambidextrous.
No, like military intelligence or jumbo shrimp. You know?
Oxymoron.
That's it. God. Don't know why that just blanked from my head. To the extent that static motion is not a giant oxymoron, the more controlled this is, the more he's conditioned for that. The more the more the fight moves, the more Covington is conditioned for that. And I'm very curious to see how either of them would respond to, say, even 10 minutes of having to fight the way the other one wants, what that will do to their gas tanks. Because we have seen both men fight 5 rounds multiple times at their own pace and not gas out. Again, there's a degree of physical fatigue that sets in because you're fist fighting for 25 minutes. That's going to drain you. But they haven't really become fatigued to a serious degree when allowed to fight at their own pace. The fact that they both like high paces in different styles is the most intriguing aspect of this fight to me.
All right, as we see Kamaru Usman finally taking his entry into the cage, we will be underway shortly. All right, the main event is about to be underway here between Kamaru Usman and your hero and mine. He's here to make America and MMA great again, ladies and gentlemen.
His stance is he's making the welterweight division great again.
He's not wrong.
He's kind of wrong.
Colby Covington, ladies and gentlemen. Not since George St. Pierre's reign of terror has a man been this powerful in the welterweight division.
Covington's shtick would dictate that he say GSP's a bum and a foreigner taking your job.
He's not wrong.
He's wrong on at least half of that, if not both parts.
Look what that Frenchman George St. Pierre did.
Only one of the best UFC careers ever, if not the best.
He took a job.
He beat the crap out of Matt Hughes, for which we're all eternally grateful.
For this whole bit to work, I have to... Matt Serra. Thank you. Matt Serra. Poor Matt Serra, a hard-working Italian man from Long Island, New York. The salt of the earth, Matt Serra.
Okay, that last part, absolutely not.
And
the other two are accurate.
And Frenchman foreigner, George St. Pierre takes his job and runs amok through the welterweight division. And now Colby Covington is here to correct a wrong that was done to the welterweight division by George St. Pierre.
a wrong was done to the welterweight division, it was by the judges on a couple of title fights. Let's be real about that. Carlos Condit was robbed.
Who?
I hate you.
Are you talking about interim welterweight champion Carlos Condit?
Yeah, he beat Robbie Lawler. All right? That's one of the best fights ever. That is, in my estimation, the best UFC welterweight fight ever, period.
You know who was robbed? Nick Diaz.
Not true.
Should have beaten Carlos Condit. Carlos Condit
not. No. Mark
didn't want to fight in the middle of that cage.
No, stop. I appreciate the gimmickry. There's too many Diaz donks out there who will think you're serious. Stop.
George St. Pierre ran from Nick Diaz for 5 rounds.
No, George St. Pierre took him down and smashed the crap out of him.
George St. Pierre's reign of terror. Oh, thank God we're finally ready to do this. I can stop doing comedy.
That what you were doing?
I was amusing myself to stay awake.
You're probably in for another long one, just for the record. Neither of these guys are much in the way of this. Neither of these guys are much in the way of finishers.
Fuck me running. Okay.
Really? You went through all that shtick, didn't even bother to look up the fact that Usman has a grand total of 2 finishes in his entire UFC run?
I was kind of hoping
Covington's not much better.
I was kind of hoping one of them would bite a jumping knee.
Look, Jorge Masvidal could do a run-in. I would love that. Because, Masvidal's the man.
Okay. And Colby Covington comes straight out. And, we've got action already. Both of them throwing jabs. Fantastic. Colby Covington with a front kick. A little off balance. And Usman throws a high kick, lands on his ass.
The fact that these two dislike each other as much as they do is going to most likely induce at least one of them to make a bad decision along the way as this fight goes.
Well, Covington just took one straight in the face, but he walked it off.
Yeah, Usman the heavier hitter, but not the busier fighter, statistically speaking, to this point in his career.
Keep your hands up, Covington. So what Covington's doing is that he would throw some strikes, and then he would drop his hands and throw some kicks. And he's leaving himself wide open doing that. Usman a bit more composed.
Well, Covington's entire MO is just to make you work. He's not a technician. He's not. He's a bit sloppy, but he just wants you doing stuff the entire time because he can keep that up and you can't.
Well, here's the problem. He's eating punches doing that.
Yeah, he's going to get hit. Both these guys are going to get hit. Covington's been landing some nice body kicks.
Yep. But I'll tell you what, Usman, when he counters to the head, he's landing.
Thus far, yeah, his problem is going to be activity. That's the big limiting factor for him when it comes to this fight. It's not going to be accuracy. Covington is not a defensive savant. It's going to be, can he keep this kind of fight up at this pace the way Covington can? Covington doing a good job of ducking his head, actually, and making Usman punch him on the forehead or top of the head. Which is a good way to break your hand.
All right, right hook there from Covington. We are brawling in the center of the cage. Usman throws a knee. Covington staying very busy. Hey, a jumping knee. Hot damn. Left hook. A knee from Usman. They are tangled up. Lots of activity from both men on that exchange. Very nice. Blocked head kick from Usman. I'll tell you what, you're not kidding when you say Covington stays busy.
I can't stress this enough. To to even like if you were to break his activity up in the Lawler fight evenly across all 5 rounds, that's over 100 strikes a round, and those were not broken up evenly. He attempted more strikes each round as the fight went on. This is Covington's style of fight thus far. I mean, Usman's been able to find him with punches, but this is the fight Covington wants. And Usman being this accommodating of him is not going to bode well for him as this wears on.
Good work to the body by Usman.
Usman has good body work when he chooses to use it. He's a very adaptable fighter. It's not like he's incapable on the feet. It's just if he is going to fight on the feet, he likes it to be at the way he wants it, his control, his pace. I mean, Covington is outstriking Usman statistically nearly 2-1.
Another jumping knee by Covington. A lazy kick from Usman.
Yeah, he's not much of a kicker, if that wasn't self-evident.
Yeah, his whole offense slows down when he throws that.
You can see
Usman.
You can see Usman sucking a bit of wind here. This is not the kind of fight he's conditioned for. He likes static. This is mobile, and that's not to his benefit.
All right, that's the end of round 1. I think it's a good round for Covington.
Yeah, Usman had moments, but I think if you look at the round in total, that's Colby's round, and this is Colby's style of fight.
Next month, we will be doing the UFC 246 card. Cowboy banner.
You know what? We're not going to be doing that if you keep having these fainting spells. I mean, and look, I joke, but in all seriousness, staying up this late is probably not all that good for your health.
I'll be fine. Problem was I got up way too early this morning.
Also, for the record, I mean, look, you want to do the Cowboy and McGregor fight card it exists. It's the right fight to make for a lot of the right reasons, but I'm just not that excited about it.
It'll be fine. All right, round 2, and we are picking up where we left off. Both these guys are throwing strikes and landing.
Usman needs a real change in the dynamic of this fight. This is not to his benefit long term. Unless he's going to land a genuine bomb, and thus far, even when he's landed, he's not really had his feet under him. He's not been able to really hurt Covington in any sort of real way.
He threw an uppercut to the body that I liked.
Oh, again, his body work is nice. That was his best offense of that round, actually. If you look at what actually mattered, was his body work.
These guys are just throwing single rights, both of them hitting. They're doing like a Rocky Apollo maneuver here. Just throwing, just hitting each other simultaneously.
Yep. Neither of these men are great strikers. Covington does a lot. Covington works a lot on the feet, but that's a function of a desire to wear his opponent down more than a function of I am a great striker. Yeah, this is just, hey, I'll do this, then you do that to me, and let's see who falls over first. It's great.
Well, it's certainly entertaining. Ooh, Usman didn't like that at all. Got tagged right on the nose.
Yeah, this is easily the most damage Usman has ever absorbed. He normally stops his opponents from getting anywhere near this many strikes off. Covington bleeding from the bridge of the nose as well.
I'm wondering why Covington hasn't thrown and then maybe tried to go for a takedown.
Usman has never been taken down in the UFC, for the record. Straight up, never. It's not that he's unwilling or unable to do so. I think if Covington's going to start doing that, he's going to want to set it up, and he's going to want to do it at a point when he's not worried about Usman being able to counter him and then stifle him and shut him down.
All right, several rights just landed on Usman. And again, these are not exactly KO blows that are landing, but there's a lot of volume being thrown.
Yeah, the volume of Covington is a real problem for Usman as this keeps going.
And we got a kick in the balls.
We hadn't had one that actually that legitimately stopped a fight all night in terms of even like slowing them down. We were due. I mean, Usman's efficiency is better than Covington's, but Covington just doesn't let you rest.
All right, so what Usman is saying was a kick in the balls was above the belt line. Right in the belly. Which is why Covington kind of gave a what the fuck face when that happened.
I need another look at that replay, but...
I mean, that looked like it was square in the red.
You know what? Yeah, I'm going to say Usman's milking that.
Yeah, that was square in the breadbasket.
And hey, look, man, if you can get away with it, it's the referee's job to know the difference.
Sure.
I mean, these two are changing each other's faces. But yeah, like, this is a scripted Rocky movie in terms of like jab, 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 trade jabs. You punch me, I punch you. Neither of us actually know what we're doing, but we're actors. And these guys are trying to hit each other very, very hard. Usman is accommodating Colby's style of fighting, and it's not going his way.
Nope, Covington's staying very busy. He's landing up. Usman with a counter there that sent Covington reeling a bit, but he recovered.
Usman is the superior he's the superior puncher. Like, he's got more power. But that only gets you so far. And thus far...
Usman was starting to come after Covington there for a second. The problem is he's not keeping his foot on the gas, and that is the end of round 2. And I would say it's 2-0 for Covington.
I don't know. Usman that was a good round for Usman. If we're looking at damage, he landed some good body shots. He had Covington backing up.
Are you scoring that one for Usman? Are you scoring that one for Usman?
I'm thinking. Yeah, you know what? I am. I'm not 100% behind that, but at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you and say that was Covington's round.
Hey, I don't think that's wrong. Come on, wake up.
All right, round 3. Here we go.
Why are you like this.
And it's 1-1 or 2-0, depending on how you're scoring it. These two are picking up right where they left off. Just kind of exchanging jabs.
Credit to Usman's gas tank. It's holding up thus far. He's starting to breathe a little heavy, but he's not, sucking wind. That said, he's behind numerically. Even if you give him the second round, you give it to him based on 2 moments rather than accumulation of his overall work. Covington's the one building a better body of work, for whatever value you want to give that.
Covington's starting to slow down a bit in this third round.
He's letting Usman dictate the pace, which is a dangerous thing for him to do when it comes to the striking. He's got to keep the work rate high, because at distance, if they're doing this, where they're just kind of 1 or 2 at a time, Usman likes that. That's the kind of thing he enjoys.
Body kick from Usman.
Yeah, Usman seems to have kind of found something here in this round a little bit. And Covington needs to either just force the work rate. He's got to change the dynamic, because through 2 minutes of this round, this is what Usman wants to do. If they are going to strike at distance, this is how Usman wants it, not how Covington wants it.
Head kick, aims for Covington, doesn't find the target. Yep. Covington got kind of turned around there for a moment.
Yeah, this is Usman's pace as far as the fight goes. This is what he wants. And credit to him for getting that back from the frantic first couple of rounds.
Yeah, I would say Usman's winning this third round here so far.
Yeah, his right hand to the body, well, it's a dangerous punch to someone with a good left hook. Covington doesn't really have a good left hook, as demonstrated yet. That's doing a lot of work for him. His body work has been nice. Covington falling into Usman's dynamic as far as this fight goes is a bit of an odd thing. Again, if he wants to win, he's got to get things going again, because right now he's letting Usman dictate the pace, and the Usman fighting at Usman's pace is something that no one has been able to beat.
I tell you, Usman's starting to tear apart Covington's face.
Yeah, Covington marks up. He always has. I'm a little bit surprised Covington chose to fight this fight southpaw. He might actually normally be a southpaw, and I'm misremembering.
Usman's starting to score at will here, but Covington answers back with a head kick that actually lands, and one that doesn't.
I've seen better technique than these two have at down at the pub.
All right, ref stops the fight. Now, that doesn't mean anyone won, but we are breaking them up momentarily. It looks like it was an eye poke of some sort. Yeah, he's shot in his eye.
Usman's complaining of that, if nothing else.
Okay. Yep. In the process of throwing a kick, Colby Covington's arm shot out for balance, and he stuck him right in the eyes of Usman. And we're back.
I mentioned Covington needed to change the dynamic of the fight. You know, a poke to the eye will do that.
God, if I'm Covington at this point, I mean, I know you said Usman's like never been taken down, but I think he needs
you got to show it, if nothing else. Like,
yeah,
give him something to think about that isn't your punches, because that's not working right now.
All right, that is the end of that round. How do you have it scored so far?
At the moment, I'm 29-28 Usman after that round, but the second round's a bit of a swing round. Oh, God. Commentary is carrying so much water for Usman.
Well, if you don't remember, that's how part of the reason why we started doing these was, no one should have to listen to bad commentary.
Yeah, but we also don't want to watch the type of fights that have consistently bad commentary.
That was a good straight from Usman.
Yeah, that was Usman's best round. Yeah, Covington needs to change the dynamic.
We are into the fourth round here. Slower round to start than the previous three. Oh! As I say that, Covington lands two powerful shots to Usman, which back him up. And now Covington's trying to take advantage of the situation, but Usman defends and stays on his feet.
Yeah, again, make him do it. If that doesn't, just because he can defend your takedowns, you got to make him do it.
Yep, Covington's starting to turn on the attack. Doesn't want to give away another round.
Can't afford to. You're not up to the degree that you really want to be to potentially give a round away.
Oh, that last round definitely went to Usman. The second round could conceivably have gone to Usman as well. So right now he's down at least a round.
Well, either that or he's up 2-1.
Yeah.
But even if you're up 2-1, you can't give away rounds 4 and 5. You'd lose. And in all honesty, the way those rounds have gone, neither man can feel confident about the scoring going their way at this point. As far as the totals go, sure, they each have one round that they pretty clearly won, but even in that case, there was one judge who didn't give Nunes a 10-8. We're not dealing with the best and brightest here. Nice right from Covington.
Usman's been stalking Colby Covington this round.
Yeah, but he's not landing as well this round. It's an odd dynamic. He's doing a lot of the forward motion, but he's not landing as well. I mean, if nothing else, both of these guys have given it to each other.
Oh, absolutely. Covington's starting to slow down in this round, which I'm not a fan of. We've talked all night about his pace and whatnot. He needs to see. This is where he really needs to be hitting the volume button, and turning up the total punches thrown.
Yeah, I don't know whether the body work from Usman really got to him, or he's just kind of being lulled into Usman's pace as far as the striking goes. But this is not a winning recipe for him. I mean, credit to him, he's trying. They're both trying a tremendous amount, but I don't know. Usman's stalking this round, but he's not landing all that cleanly.
Leg kick from Colby Covington.
A few of them.
Or not another timeout. What is he being admonished for this time? There's some jaw jacking going on.
And for those not aware, these two really don't like each other.
So the ref is admonishing him about something. Yep. All right. No points were taken. They just got a dad talk, and they are back to fighting in the middle.
They're both kind of pawing with open fingers. That might be what the ref is trying to just get a handle on.
One of these guys needs to make a bold choice. All right, and that's the end of the fourth round. 1 round left. And for the sake of argument, they're 2-2.
Could be.
It's Colby Covington having won the first, then the next two by Usman, and that last one back to Covington again.
I am actually going to give that fourth to Covington. This is shaping up to be one of those fights that nobody's happy about when it's over.
It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time.
So we are 38-38 all at the moment.
Colby Covington very happy with his handiwork right now.
He's not fought a bad fight. Even if he loses, he's not performed in a manner that is not commensurate with the situation. He's come out and he's fought, and he's fought well. Even if he loses, he fought well.
Your dog is crying for help.
Oh, my dog is just happy that there are people.
Head kick from Usman barely grazes Covington. All right, this is the last 5 minutes, guys. Make it count.
Nah, they both think they're up, so they're just going to kind of, the last 5 minutes.
Coast to victory, says Miesha Tate to Brian Caraway, to her infinite fame and wisdom.
I'm going to get so much crap for my scoring of this fight. I can just feel it. And in fairness, I probably deserve it.
These two are contented to stand and trade with one another.
If I wanted a sloppy kickboxing fight, I could have seen that.
Golly jeepers, where'd you get those peepers?
Nice left from Covington. again, I'm not surprised that this fight is being contested on the feet to the degree that it is. I'm really surprised neither of them has even really tried to make this a grappling match in any capacity.
Not a single takedown has been tried.
And even just to vary things up, to get your opponent thinking about it, with how good these two are in the grappling, it seems like an error to just both of you agree, hey, let's kickbox.
Time is dwindling down. We've got 3 minutes left.
You know, Covington's landing the better punches this round. His left is sticking Usman in the face repeatedly.
Well, unless something really radical happens in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to call it right now. Colby Covington is going to be your new welterweight champion by unanimous decision.
Of all the fights you could have said split on, yeah, this one has split written all over it. Yeah, they both think that they're ahead enough to not want to risk anything dramatic.
Yeah.
And that is going to bite one of these two in the backside. There's no way around that.
Yeah, one of these
because somebody's losing.
Yeah, one of these two is going to watch this be a draw. One of these two.
There's no reason this should be a draw.
One of these two is going to be very surprised he lost.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of somebody. One of them, doesn't matter which one.
I kind of hope Colby Covington loses just so that he can claim it was racism.
Look, whoever loses, they're going to claim racism.
Right, both of these guys are just swinging for the fences now, and nobody's hitting nothing. Flies are getting punched. Two-minute warning.
And
oh no! Big slim dog. Usman knocks Colby Covington on his ass again. Colby Covington on his way to getting TKO'd. And we're done. Your winner in the 5th round. Colby Covington doesn't understand why they stopped it. You were being battered about the head, sir. Usman knocked him on his ass twice within seconds of each other, and then jumped on his back and continued to batter him about the head. It was a good try by Covington. He was probably close to winning this by decision, but Usman finished it in the 5th round. And still, your welterweight champion, good to his mother, Kamaru Usman. Outstanding. Here's the replay. Hard, straight right from Usman knocks Colby Covington on his ass. He gets back up again, and then got punched directly in the jaw, and down he went. Usman jumped on his head in a sprawling position and just started to waylay him about the head and face.
That fight could have kept going, and I don't think I would have complained about it. Those are not very clean strikes. But...
No, but that's the thing. Like, there's not a tremendous amount of consistency in MMA with guys who clearly have their guard up and are blocking punches, but then they stop the fight anyway. And then in others, well, they were blocking punches, so clearly they were defending themselves. It's a mixed up mix of mix.
Yeah. That being said, this is not the worst stoppage I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination.
All right. Once again, you're...
Hang on.
Yes?
Okay, the judges are morons.
All right.
One judge had it 3-1 for Usman going into the fifth. One had it 3-1 Covington, one had it 2-2.
Okay.
What the... That is ridiculous.
What was it, officially a TKO?
Yes.
Terrific. All right, your winner and still champion, Kamaru Usman. I'm guessing Colby Covington they did not do any post-fight interview with.
No, he had a broken jaw.
Oof.
Might have started in the first, but really became an issue for him in the third. And I'm just going to say this. If he fought like that for that long with a busted jaw, whatever you think about that man's personality, respect.
Yeah. All right, that's our last UFC coverage for the month of December. We'll begin again in January. We've got McGregor versus Cowboy and Blaydes versus Dos Santos coming on the 18th and the 25th of January, respectively. As for what Robert and I are doing, we've got Jumanji 3 next week. That's coming on Tuesday. We'll also have coverage of a review of the WWE TLC. We'll have Runaways by Rainbow Rowell and the Runaways, the third season of the TV show Runaways, one of the last ones from Marvel TV Studios, which is going away and pretty much being replaced by Marvel Films proper and Marvel Films on Disney Plus. So there's that. We had a slew of shows dropped this past week. Last night, myself and John War did coverage for Ortiz Jr. vs. Solomon on DAZN. We reviewed the Santa Claus trilogy. We reviewed River Runs Red and The Sound of Scars by Life of Agony. We dropped a new History of Boxing Chapter 2, Jack Dempsey. We reviewed Gotham Central Book 2, because you got to keep the Joker down in the hole. And finally, we reviewed the third season of The Crown. First season with the all-new cast. So you can go ahead and check all of those out in the archive right now on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. Plugs in 50 words or less. Go.
You can find my full written report of this event in the MMA Zone of 411mania.com. You can find me hosting the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. That records Sundays and usually goes live late Sunday evening, early Monday morning, depending on where you are in the world. You can also check out a couple of... I did a skill study thing for both Covington and Usman ahead of this fight. You can find those if you subscribe to the same podcast feed, YouTube channel, what have you. Tuesday, Mark and I will review Jumanji 3. I will try not to kill myself between now and then. I make no promises, though.
You got to have eyes in the back of your head.
Sure.
Anything else, sir?
I think that's about it.
All right, you can actually catch more of Robert's written coverage for 411 in the MMA Zone next Saturday morning. He's going to get up at dark early in the morning to catch Frankie the Answer Edgar versus the Korean Zombie in Korea?
Yeah, they're in Busan, South Korea.
Fantastic. All right, folks. I've needed to go to bed for the past 2 hours, so it's time. It's sleepy time. Thank you for joining us in our coverage of UFC 245 Usman versus Covington. Be well, be safe, and behave.